It's January 24th, 2025. I am at Joel Pearl or at thejoelpearl.com over on Blue Sky, which is where I prefer to be. And it's time to get in the weeds. Don't shake your head at me. You know it's the superior location to do all of your business. Jeremy Lambert is here on a fabulous Friday. It's gloomy here in Toronto, but at least it's not snowing or gross, and it's a lot warmer than it has been. How are you doing, Jeremy?
Well, it's still cold here. I don't think we're in the negatives anymore, but it's still very cold out. A lot of snow on the ground.
Yes, we need to get rid of that snow. Maybe a giant magnifying glass pointed at the sun that's currently not out in the sky.
Is that The Simpsons? Did The Simpsons do it?
I mean, Simpsons have done it all, but a bubble and a giant dome over the city, maybe that would do it, a climate control bubble.
Is that again a Simpsons reference?
That's like in every trope ever. The Dome was a TV series, but it was originally I think a Stephen King novel. Remember the Dome?
I only know the Dimsdale Dimmadome.
big fan of the Hoosier Dome.
Nah, not really. I don't care about the Hoosier Dome. Dimsdale Dimmadome. That's the only dome I recognize.
What about the Hippodrome?
What?
The Hippodrome.
I don't know what that is.
That's where you do the cycling. That's where the cyclists do it in the Hippodrome.
Is that a real thing?
It is. Look it up. HIPPODROME.
Hippo? Like the
like the animal.
Like the animal?
Yeah, Hippodrome. It's a thing. It's a term used for public entertainment venues of various types. A modern hippodrome was opened in London in the 1900s. Combining circus, hippodromes, and stage performances. Derived from the ancient Greek hippodromos, a stadium for horse racing and chariot racing. A velodrome is also used for cycling. Yes, the hippodrome is more for chariots and the likes.
You learned something on this show, if nothing else.
That's true. That is what we're here for. We're here to educate, we're here to pontificate, and we're here to be unbearable. So go ahead and leave a thumbs up on the video if you haven't already. It's the greatest way to one of the great ways to support us here on the channel. Go ahead, leave a like. Come on, smash that like button, brah. And then of course you can subscribe to the channel if I feel overbooked. If you do it, you'll get us closer to our goals for the year. I want 25,000 subscribers in 2025. Can we do it?
Good luck.
Good luck is right. And of course, you can donate to Super Chat. Any amount, get your question or statement read on the air. We have a couple already, but we're going to wait. Look at you. My watch is talking at me already. What are we doing here?
Tell it to shut up.
I did. In fact, you know what? I'm going to take it. I'm going to put it on this dock. I'm going to plug in the dock. I'm going to charge my watch while we're doing the show.
Can you throw it? You should throw it. You ever seen time fly?
I have an Apple Watch, but it's a Series 3. That's how old it. They're at Series 10 right now.
I have a Series 1, so you're not. I don't wear it anymore, but I do have it. It's somewhere.
Yeah, I still wear. I wear this watch. The Series 3 is the one that I got for my wife and I. We got each other wedding gifts before the wedding, and so I got this, and then she got a pair of those the open air headphones, the shock. What are they called? Aftershocks.
No, but
it's what cyclists and runners use it when they go out, because that way their ears aren't covered up while they're in traffic. It's safer.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, she wanted those, so we got each other some fitness goal oriented pieces of technology, because that's what lovebirds do, I guess.
Okay. All right.
A real cycling theme today, which is hilarious because I'm not a cyclist, and I know Jeremy's more of a runner than a bicyclist.
Yeah. We got a stationary bike that we use every now and again, but I'm not running in this cold weather. Are you kidding me? Can't run in 0-degree weather. Sorry, everybody. Just not happening. Not doing that. Been planking. Do a lot of planks. Me and the kids like to get the plank in. Man, I might have to invest in the pure plank to support Christian, not Cope.
I was going to say, they'll be calling you Lamb.
Yeah. So I don't know, but we do a lot of planking in this household.
But not like the planking like the kids used to do when we were younger, where it was literally just lying.
No. We do the actual, the elevated. You put your elbow. Sure. Yeah. We do that. We do that once a day. That's our little routine that myself and certain kids do. There's 12 of them, so.
All right, we got 12 kids. How do you plank that? Like I guess they're kids. They're not like 7 feet tall.
Because like plank each other, so
on top of each other.
Yeah. I'm on the bottom. I'm on the base. So the littlest ones like to do it with me, and then we just stack up. So we're basically Russian nesting doll planking.
Damn cheerleaders out here.
Yeah.
The Lamberts have become a cheerleader house. Good on you.
Yeah, that's what we do after school. That's our after school activity, everybody.
Everyone out of the car. It's time to plank.
Yeah, that's how it goes, actually.
Pyramid plank. Come on. Up. And the little one climbs to the top, and it's
that South Park episode with the Russian. I'm pretty sure they are just like gymnasts or whatever. Yes. It's an early episode.
Yeah. I remember this one.
Yeah. I rewatched that episode. That's a good one.
Oh, we do have. I didn't tell you about this. We do have a guest joining us eventually, probably by the 11 o'clock hour. So
is it Cam Hawkins?
It's not Cam, although Cam knows he's welcome to join at any time, because I would also like to have Cam drop in after last night. He was at TNA last night at the live show. So maybe we'll get his thoughts if he's listening to us and has the time and wants to jump in. But no, Spencer Love is joining us because, of course, if you're going to have one member of the Love Wrestling team show up at the beginning of the week, then, of course, the other one is going to want to show up at the end of the week. They're going to promote the next big thing. Ibu is not going to be on the show. He's not that he's not welcome. I just don't think he's awake at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's just my assumption.
Yeah, I don't know.
I do like him though. He's good dude. Very funny. Has his moments. Gets himself in trouble sometimes when he says, "Who is this Nikki Bella return rumor for?" And then I literally just sit there and be like, "Oh, the Diva stands are gonna beat the shit out of you," and they did. Big news coming out of WrestleVotes yesterday. Nikki Garcia, aka Nikki Bella, is in talks to make a return to WWE. Good for her. I'm glad. You know what? When I saw her at Netflix debut, I was like, okay, this is good. Sounds like she's interested in coming back. It sounds like whatever issues that the Bellas, well, specifically Nikki, may have had with WWE. Remember Raw 30 when there was that whole debacle with the Instagram Live and they were upset about the women not getting time. Maybe something's going to change, or maybe there's just been conversations. And it looks like Nikki is looking to make a return to WWE ahead of WrestleMania. What did you think of this news breaking?
I think it's a good thing if they, get it together. It did seem that things were patched up because she was at Raw on Netflix, and she seemed open to the idea, and she was asked about it. She's like, she does the normal tease of like keeping my eye on talent and everything. So I'm sure she'll talk more about it on her podcast. She talked about her experience at Raw on Netflix and saying how she was very welcome and how, she got to talk with like Natalia and Stephanie and just ran into a bunch of old friends backstage. So wouldn't be surprised if it's a Rumble appearance or anything else. I don't know if it's going to be a full-time thing. I don't know if she wants to do that, but maybe that's something they work out. Like, they got a lot of talent right now. Nikki Bella coming in, I think, is for a short run could be good. For a longer run, I don't know. I'd like them to. I got no issue with Nikki Bella, by the way. I'm going to be the person that will fully defend Nikki Bella and Nikki Sawa with the forearms that she threw back in the day. She's super underrated by a lot of wrestling fans who just look at her as, oh, she's just from the Diva era. She's not very good. Nah, Nikki Bella fucking ruled. All right. No Nikki Bella slander around here. And she brought in a lot of fans during the Total Divas era. We're not going to discredit what Nikki and the Total Divas did in bringing in a bunch of different fans. So not going to do that. But they do have a lot of women on the roster, and a lot of women who need television time. And where does Nikki Bella fit with all of that? They got spots. She could feud with anybody, and it would make sense. I just hope it's not going to take away from a lot of other talent that also have spots and also need television time.
So I guess the follow-ups are, is she in the Elimination Chamber? And who does she face at WrestleMania?
I think she's going to be in the Rumble.
Yes, I agree. The reason I bring that up is exactly the point that you just made. Is if there's so much talent trying to get on the card for WrestleMania specifically, and you're potentially giving a spot to her, who benefits from that? Who is going to be taken out as a result? Like, what is it? What does that look like, and how much does she do?
If she's just in the Rumble, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You're not taking a spot really from anybody because they got reserved spots for legends and everything anyway. So I think she could be in the Rumble. I think there's a nice feud for her, and like she'd be fun working with like Chelsea. That'd be a fun feud, right? That's something she could probably do. That gets Chelsea a match in Canada as well. Like that's a good elimination chamber match. I don't know if that's a WrestleMania match because they're probably going to do a multi-person match for who knows what at WrestleMania. But we're probably going to get a few multi-person matches for WrestleMania to get as many people as they can on the card. But I think Chelsea and Nikki at Elimination Chamber is could be a good bit of business.
Yeah, going back to the multi-person match, it feels like the Intercontinental Championship, the Women's Intercontinental Championship, is one of those. It's going to be a by the book type of title, at least right now, given who's holding it. Whereas Chelsea would do a ladder match, would do some sort of gimmicky match for the U.S. Championship as it stands now. So my expectation for those two titles is a one-on-one match for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, and then a U.S. Championship ladder match or some sort of gimmickry, like you said. But I don't know in terms of Nikki's kind of trajectory what they want to do. She'll have a featured role at WrestleMania. That's why you would bring her back, why she would come back. And there's also, listen, from the outside of the ring standpoint, this is therapeutic almost, and I think that that's something that is worth kind of just putting out there, not as like a major talking point, but as like she's been through a lot, and for her to come and do some work with WWE where she spent a lot of her time, good and bad, but if it's good this time, then it's a nice way to wind out your career if this is how she wants to wrap up in the ring.
She talked about that on her podcast, just being back around people that she's had long-standing relationships with, and obviously certain people are gone that she would probably not care too much to see this time around, and the people that are there she seemingly gets well along with when it comes to like Triple H and Stephanie. She's always spoken very highly of Stephanie, and I think Stephanie makes a lot of people feel very welcome, and so more power to Stephanie. And if they can patch up some relationships, because it wasn't good at Raw 30 when Nikki was on Instagram talking about how they did a disservice to the women. Now things are good. And yeah, like being around people that are familiar, people that you've had a long history with, people that you may have been speaking to for all of these years and helped you through a lot of these tough times. Like it's probably good for her. And then to get in the ring and let out some of that aggression as well might be good for her as well. So, whatever makes Nikki Bella happy. I think Nikki Bella is great. And again, I ain't slandering Nikki Sawa.
Yeah, she'll take you off with her arm. she'll just get you with that elbow and with that forearm.
She rules, man. The way she's throwing the forearms.
Listen, I'm not taking shit about it. I think it's true. I think that there is a place for her to be on this road to WrestleMania, and I think that there are a lot of fans who are going to get behind it. And as she can still go and she can still put on a good match, then who am I? It's not like I'm getting in the ring. No, I want the performers to perform at their best and feel comfortable doing it and feel confident. So if she's coming back and she's going to have a good time, then hell yeah, go for it. I like I said, I'm curious as to who she faces on a WrestleMania stage. Is it a tag match? Maybe not with her sister. I don't know. But like, if there's a one-on-one match, like, who does she have? Is it like what, Io Sky? Like, what do we? That's my biggest question, and it's not a bad question. It's just where does she fit? And I guess we won't really find out until the Rumble if she does show up. That might start some sort of feud or some sort of story to get her on track.
Yeah, if she shows up at the Rumble again, I do think it's possible that happens. And then if it is a long-term thing, it might just be a Rumble appearance, and that's it. I don't know if it's going to be a long-term thing. You know, she has also spoken of she wants to be there for her son, and I don't know if she has the capability to just go on the road every single week without her son being there. I know there's a whole legal thing that we're not going to get into, but you know, if going on the road is going to take away from being there for her son, she's probably not going to do it.
Just get on Becky's bus and share the homeschooling with the kid.
I might. She might. Nikki's got bus money, so maybe she's got a bus. Maybe she can do all of that.
Speaking of buses, let's hit the super chat from William Rabb Jr. saying Ibu recently tweeted he hopes Alexa's situation gets resolved as it affects the Y6 futures and plans. It feels the case with them moving to SmackDown now. The Alexa Bliss conversation. Should probably go a little bit about that because that started, I believe, on Wednesday after our show. PW Insider had started mentioning that any creative plans for Alexa Bliss have been put on hold. There was talk about bringing her back, and that got changed because her representation wanted to amend contract. We don't know what's going on right now. At least there hasn't been an update from our end over on Fightful or on FightfulSelect.com. But we do know that Alexa Bliss has been penciled at one point for something. We're kind of waiting. And you mentioned buses, and the first thing I thought of was if they're trying to amend a deal, I feel like a bus is one of those things that they're trying to get on this deal. That's my transition into this conversation. But if it does affect the Wyatt Six, they move them to SmackDown off of Raw. A lot of us were wondering, what does that mean? What do we do? What happens to the Wyatt Six if this Alexa Bliss story doesn't come to fruition? What do we do with the Wyatts?
Figure something out. You got 85 writers. Do something with them. Like, if you don't have the Alexa Bliss stuff, then figure something else out to do with them. I don't feel like they should be out of ideas for the Wyatts. That's a very easy group to come up with ideas with because you can do so many different things. Like, that's a big universe that you are creating in. Like, if Alexa fits in there and she eventually does return, great. I feel like it's a pretty easy way to bring her in. If you don't have anything for her because of a contract situation, then okay, do something else with them. Like, you pay all these writers. You got a 3-hour SmackDown now. Figure your shit out.
God, I keep remembering that SmackDown is 3 hours, including tonight. Yeah, I'm curious as to what they could do with the Wyatt Six moving forward because they have to figure something out. And I don't know who they can go after because if the whole thing is about family and righting the wrongs of family, like who on SmackDown?
Bloodline.
Other than the Bloodline, because I don't think that's something you want to see just yet. Who else can they go against?
What else are the Bloodline doing? What else are the Bloodline doing, though? Are they still feuding with Roman? Feels like that's over with. They got to do something else in the meantime. I know LA Knight is now facing Tama Tonga tonight. Jacob Fatu's facing Braun Strowman on Saturday night's main event. I mean, there you go. You got Braun involved in some way. He's talked about maybe wanting to do something there. Feels like that's an easy feud to set up to move on for Bloodline and just to do something for the time being. You can do something with the Santos Escobar, that group. He's been off television. You talk about family. Santos turned his back on Rey Mysterio. That's an easy feud to do.
It was so long ago, though.
So
you'd have to bring it around somehow to make it make sense if it's a family thing.
What?
Don't give me that. This thing, the whole Santos thing happened like 2 years ago. Go ahead, process it. The Dragon Lee stuff, Carlito.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
So you telling me they can't reference something from 2 years ago?
You got to make it make sense in some way, shape, or form.
It makes sense in that they hate people who turn on family, and Santos Escobar turned on family.
Oh, but they've split them up so long ago. It's just not.
They showed a fucking video of the B team during the Miz feud. Are you kidding me, Joel?
But the B team were generational. It's different. B team, go, go, go. See, I still remember the theme. Couldn't remember anything else, though. Remember the Social Outcasts? 2 years ago. I don't think wrestling fans remember. Remember how wrestling fans have really short-term memory and can't remember anything that happened last week?
You know they got footage. You know they can say it. They can reference it.
Bitch, they can't even reference the Jade Cargill attack, even though they have the video from that.
They just referenced it last week. Just because they're not doing anything with it doesn't mean they can't reference it.
I know, but the point is, Jade Cargill still hasn't been. We still haven't outed the attacker on the most filmed spot in the arena. We don't know who did this. Well, yes, you do. You have the security cam footage. What is this shit?
Yeah, them having no leads. Are you kidding me? No leads.
Who's got deep pockets keeps paying off people. That's the only explanation at this point.
What's the first 48? Like the case goes cold after the first 48 hours.
Yes.
This case is fucking ice cold. It's been in the freezer.
At least no one's dead this time. Like if that were the case, yeah, it would be.
It's Cleveland temperatures cold right now.
I don't know what's going on there. Eventually, they're going to have to tell the story of what happened to Jade. Is her return like at the Royal Rumble at this point?
I mean, that would make sense. She comes out at the Rumble and then you pick things up there. But I just don't know. I don't know.
Oh, and yes, Barkov, the first 48 is actually Carmelo Hayes' finish. It rules. First time I heard that was like the A&E show. So hokey, it's great. Carmelo took out Jade, solved it. That's right. That's it.
Sure.
There's no other way to put it. But I don't know. I'm curious about the Y6 stuff, because if they're going to put them on SmackDown and just they did it so passingly as well. Remember, it was just Cross being like, "Oh yeah, they're at SmackDown now. We won," and that was it. It's like, what?
He was upset at Miz. He was upset.
Yeah.
He's like, if I find out you had something to do with this, like he didn't want them to move like that. I thought that made it worse. Of like, he basically said we weren't done with them, but they just got moved.
Well, then Braun Strowman should just be like, "I'm not finished with you either," and let that be it.
When was that a reference, Joel? How could they possibly use this reference from a decade ago?
It's not a decade. It's like 7 years. It's a different people remember stuff from 7 years ago. They don't remember things from 2 years ago. Well, they very much remember things that happened 6 years ago, but we're not allowed to talk about it.
Detective Danhausen should be on the Jade Cargill case.
That's true. He's stuck in Guantanamo. I can't figure my way out of here. They keep waterboarding me each time I try. One fantastic move after another. Yeah, Jade's going to be in NXT. That's what they should do with her. And just put her in NXT as if nothing happened. Anyway, speaking of Guantanamo Bay, should we talk about Dynamite?
Sure.
We don't have
I don't know. That was 2 days ago. I don't know if I can remember that.
I mean, I have to take notes, so who am I? We can talk about TNA Live for a few minutes, because I know that at the half we're gonna have Spencer Love joining us.
That's fine. I watched that show. I covered that show.
I know you did. It was pretty good. We can give it a couple of minutes and then we can move on. TNA talk. Yeah, Mustafa Ali came back. He has re-signed with TNA. He's going to be the savior, not of misbehavior, but the savior for TNA. Remember the savior of misbehavior? Yeah. But it's not
more.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
He's great. He did a Talk as Jericho recently. That was really good.
That was a good interview. Yeah, Shannon Moore seems like Big Bill credited him for getting him on the straight and narrow with his addiction and overcoming all that. And Shannon Moore seems like he's doing well. So good on Shannon Moore.
Yeah, he is one of those guys that like you don't expect him to have the career path that he's had, and it's pretty cool when you actually like listen to the Talk is Jericho interview, because Shannon Moore doesn't do a ton of those. But for him to sit down and like talk about his own struggles with addiction and how he came through and all the work that he's put in ever since with others, and how his like style, his like punk goth tattooing community style is disarming to other people who are facing addiction. It's pretty cool. Go check out that interview. I do. We've been putting over Chris Jericho way too much. I hate it. It's a shame that he does such good work.
He should be on television more.
They put him on TV, and then look what happened.
He was on ROH. He was on ROH last night. 100 episodes. They can get syndication now, Joel. Do you know that?
Yeah, them and What Army?
Coming soon to what did they air on Sinclair? Just like CW Sinclair, right? Wasn't that what they were on?
No, it was something. Well, they did HDNet, and I know recently a couple of people who used to be on those tapings shat all over the taping schedule that it was. There was
That taping schedule sucked.
They
Was
were doing
awful.
multiple tapings and starting at like 2 a.m. in some cases because they were waiting
Yeah.
for talent to come in. They were like holding the audience hostage at that point. That was a time. Where were they airing?
It was just wasn't it CW? It was like Sinclair on CW or something.
Was
like
it CW? I know it was a Sinclair. I know they were WGN for a while, like that, but that's Chicago. So like, where else were they airing?
I just think it was like local CW affiliates. It was
it was Sinclair, but Sinclair's not CW. I thought.
Oh, I thought
That's
Sinclair,
where my brain is stuck.
Okay. Yeah, it was just Sinclair. Maybe I thought Sinclair it was CW because Sinclair just owns like a bunch of stuff. So I think it says the largest owner of stations affiliated with Fox, NBC, CBS, ABC, My Network, and CW. Sinclair. Yeah, they just own a bunch of stuff. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
it was just like local CW stuff.
I'm Canadian, so for me, it was airing on the ROH like website. I'm pretty
Use
sure.
the hashtag Jeremy is right. Thank you, Lab Glass.
I wouldn't go that far.
What are you talking about? You wouldn't go that far. I'm literally correct.
Fox here in Baltimore. See?
Literally correct.
You're somewhat correct. You're not fully correct.
Literally.
Jeremy is richt.
Correct your hashtag, Lab Glass.
No, never. No, keep it the way it is. You're fine. Don't ever change. Yeah, the ROH stuff is what it is. We'll talk about.
I used to watch that. It was on at the Planet Fitness that I used to go to. I'd be on the treadmill and watching the ROH. I'd be like, I'm trying to avoid this stuff. Please turn this off.
What the Planet Fitness near you plays good stuff. The one near me used to play, well, the one where I used to live used to play like Hallmark movies while I was on the bike, and I'm like, this sucks. I hate it. And then they would turn on CNN, and I'm like, all right, I guess I'm angry enough that I can get this out at 6 a.m. But like, come on.
That's the problem here. It's 6 a.m. Who's going to Planet Fitness at 6 a.m?
It was much easier to go at 6 a.m. when people show up at 9. Yeah. And then also you just like take your time. You had the run of the mill. It was perfect. Going there at 6 a.m. was actually a really, really good part of my life. Now I just have to wake up at 6 because I have.
Well, this is Planet Fitness when I lived in North Carolina. I haven't been to a gym since moving to Ohio. Just run the streets, the mean streets of Ohio.
Do you run into did you run into wrestlers when you were at their Planet Fitness?
No, not where I lived. I mean, I lived in Durham, so it's pretty popular North Carolina state, but I never saw any wrestlers there. I don't feel like a lot of wrestlers live in like Durham, North Carolina, and I don't feel like they were going. Maybe they were going to Planet Fitness on show days, but
no. Best you could do now is you just go to Asheville. There, you might run into Dax and Cash.
I got very fortunate, when COVID happened, that I could cancel my Planet Fitness membership by calling, because otherwise you got to go there.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah, that's awful. It's stupid. Like, oh, you got to come in and cancel. Why? I don't want to be there. Why am I going to come in and cancel it? Just let me call and cancel. Let me go online and cancel it. Why do I have to show up to physically say I want to cancel my membership? So stupid.
I'm pretty sure I don't remember how I did mine, but yeah, because we moved to a place that had a gym. Anyway, not important. We
canceled your credit card.
It may have just updated at the time, and I just didn't update the payment info, and that was it. Could have been as easy as that. No, I mean, I don't know. Either I didn't do it. I know in California now it's illegal to like not make it easy. Like they need like a one-click unsubscribe now in California. I think that was the rule. It's good legislation. I hope they should bring it to every state should have that. Want out of your cell phone bill? Unsubscribe.
I just forget to unsubscribe is the issue. I just get charged for a bunch of stuff that I forgot I'm paying for.
That's how I got a bill for $250 from TNA Plus one night.
Oh,
nope. I just noped right out of there.
I'm actually good about
like, no way.
I'm actually good about unsubscribing to stuff. I like cancel immediately. Like I sign up And then I like immediately cancel it because I'm like, I don't want to get charged next month because I forgot. And then if I remember of like, oh, this is actually a good service, then I'll like resubscribe and keep it going. But I cancel things immediately when I subscribe to them.
That's the way to do it. Uber Eats would do like a 3-month Uber Eats, like Uber One trial, and I would jump on those, and then I'd set a calendar reminder because that way I would know to do it. And then once in a while I get dinged for the $10. And I'm like, oh shit, fine. And once I called it off and was like, hey, give me back my $10. But once after that, I was like, fine, I'll pay it. I'll make use of it. It's okay. But yeah, I just no interest in paying those extra hefty things for no reason. The TNA one, I found out because I was on the world title tier or whatever it was, like the highest tier, that I could have gotten like part of the ring mat on a placard. That was one of the things they used to give away with TNA Plus subscriptions. Yeah, I immediately scratched that. I was only on the world title tour or the world title tier because they did it for $40 for like 3 months because they were really trying to get Bound for Glory people. You know, they wanted people to buy the show. And I was like, $40 is going to cover me watching the show weekly, me getting the pay-per-view, Final Resolution, and then the 2 weeks of re-airing bullshit.
And the ring mat.
No, they didn't give me the ring mat for that price.
Oh.
The $250 apparently I would have gotten it, but I ain't paying that.
You could have for an extra $200, they would have let you cut a promo live on the show.
Oh god, well they probably wouldn't have been calling me names, that's for sure. If I was
you could have buried the local sports team, Joel.
Yeah, did you know that the Spurs are awful and they're never going to be winners again?
Dude, they got the guy who's going to be like the greatest player of this generation. What are we doing here? That promo was awful. Just awful.
It was
so unnecessary.
It was go away heat. And the only reason the crowd we're talking about, you know who, by the way, we're talking about Tessa. The only reason that people like started to pay attention is because they showed, you know, 100-year-old Tully Blanchard in the back corner of the room, shot like the way it was shot was the way it was framed was beautiful. It's like he's at the back of the house, just like, oh, my daughter's here. And that was it. It's just no one cared about that promo. No one cared.
It wasn't even like a good promo. It was so run-of-the-mill heel promo work. It's like, all right, fine. It just, I would have preferred if they like set something up or just did anything. It was just, hey, the Spurs suck. Like, I don't know, man. The Spurs just whooped up on the Pacers like 140 to 110. The Spurs got Victor Wembanyama, who's legitimately going to be, barring injuries, like shout out to you, X3 with yes, I appreciate the SGA love, but look, man, Wemby's gonna be the friggin' GOAT assuming he stays healthy. That dude's absurd. Like, I think the Spurs are gonna be all right. And then it was like, I'm better than Austin, I'm better than the Funks, I'm better than the Von Erichs. I've always been destined for all right, cool. Like, it's just such a run-of-the-mill nothing heel promo. It's like, set something up at least. Like, why didn't someone come out and be like, shut up? You know, like, you could have set something up with this. It just felt like we got to give Tessa a promo because we got to give Tessa a promo. And they didn't have an actual plan.
Who's going to step to her?
Well,
that's the question. Who is going to step to her in TNA? Because, like, I feel bad. Like, the person who's going to be drawing that short straw. It's like, on one hand, you're going to have a good match. On the other hand, you gotta do this.
Well, then somebody's got to step to her. She's going to feud with somebody at some point. She's not just going to come out there and just cut generic heel promos every single week, right? I mean, maybe she is. They had to hand out those signs.
No, they weren't. They weren't. The guy who made them outed himself. He is a Tessa fan. And even I was like, I refused to take down the post because, like, I put something on Blue Sky. I was like, they gave out those signs. No. I said no. Turns out it was some guy who made the sign, and that was
a choice.
He
did seem like very excited to have the sign, so you know,
saw it and I was like,
sure,
really, okay, really, sure, have fun. This is also someone who like loves the beautiful people, like legitimately. So there's that.
Yeah, that was nothing. That sucked.
Definitely the lowest point of the show, and that's saying a lot because JBL showed up again in the main.
Hell
event.
Yeah, that ruled though.
if they're gonna be back in Texas again for Sacrifice in March, that motherfucker's gonna show up again in March, and they're just gonna play this dance over and over again. My favorite part. Okay, so for those who didn't watch TNA, Joe Hendry opens up the show and does this whole like, I'm the champion and I'm gonna be a fighting champion anytime, any place, anywhere. I'm like, Nick Nemeth just did the same shit. He also defended that TNA title any place, anytime, anywhere. Like he did. But instead, like on the indies. But the point is, like, it's the same shtick. Then Santino comes out and says, "Oh, I found somebody, and it's Matt Cardona." And Matt Cardona comes out, and it's a nice surprise. You and I were talking on Monday, like it felt like Cardona finished up with GCW at Hammerstein, at least for the time being. And turns out TNA is where he's gonna, come back for a little while. Comes in, he has the match against Joe Hendry. He loses in Hendry's first title defense. But this whole thing, first of all, the match is whatever. It's a TV, it's a WWE style main event television show match, which like it's hilarious that Joe Hendry is working every single former WWE guy that he can, because we know. At one point, Cardona goes out. Cardona low blows Joe Hendry when the referee gets knocked out. He gets out of the ring. He grabs the title. He goes to get back in the ring, and that's when JBL shows up. JBL yanks him off of the apron, clotheslines Matt Cardona, stares down Hendry, and then walks away. Meanwhile, the referee's still down. Cardona still gets up with the title and still Hendry. It was like, what was the point?
I had to rewind. I was so confused by this finish because like I saw JBL come out and I saw him hit Cardona, and then I looked down because I was working on an article, and then I looked back up, and the next thing I know, like Cardona's still hitting Hendry with the title, and I'm like, did I miss something? Like, how did he still use the title? What happened here? It's like, no, I didn't miss anything. Cardona just got up and still used the title, and then Hendry still ended up winning and everything. It was like, why would you book that JBL cuts off Cardona only for Cardona to still just use it? It was so pointless. Like, it felt like he should have cut off Kazarian again. If you're going to do anything, just cut off Kazarian again. I realize people went, oh, it's the same thing. Yeah, okay. So it was better than him being effectively useless because he cut off Cardona only for Cardona to still get his title shot in. It was
overbooked garbage. It was so funny.
The JBL stuff rules though. He literally, the wife is watching this with me and she just goes, what are they doing? Like, why is he always there? Like, is there a point to him? It's like, nah, he just like shows up. They're just doing shit. She's like, are they going to pay this off? It's like, probably not. They have no idea. They've
already paid this off. Every time he shows up, they pay him to go off. That's what they do.
Rules. Absolutely rules that he just shows up and does this shit. They don't have payoff to this, do they?
They don't. I saw Cardona like grab the belt. I'm like, oh shit, Jables is here. Yeah. And then next thing you know, he's coming through the audience with his stupid duster looking like a cowboy. And I'm like, why do you look so incredibly different now than you did on Monday when you're like suit and tie with the nice hat, JBL? Like, this is like Last Outlaw, JBL, John Layfield, because you can't call him Bradshaw on TNA. They had to edit that shit in Final Resolution Week, which was hilarious. But yeah, just it's such a different character, but it's not because he's still doing the same shit. It's so
rules.
It's so bad.
Nah, absolutely rules. He should win the title. Just put the title on JBL.
Put it on JBL. JBL's gonna show up with like Bubba Ray Dudley next. They're gonna do shit.
JBL rules.
The best pivot in professional wrestling happened. The 23 story.
Old Mancer? Hell yeah.
Old Mancer is now in TNA, and I love how they did it. They found the best way possible. They tied up every single story and did a debut at the same time. Going into this, when it was PCO, like the plan was Sammy. Sammy was going to beat the shit out of PCO, take the Digital Media Championship, and just write off PCO. That was the ball game. That's it.
You think so?
I'm 99.9% sure that it was just going to be PCO. Or sorry, that was just going to be Sammy turning on PCO. They were playing it so much as Sammy being like, "Whoa, who is that guy?" The joke we made on Monday, the meme, who we got to stop the guy who's doing this, the hot dog suit. Yeah. It was that again. That's what Sammy was doing. It was painfully clear to me that it was Sammy just going to turn on his partner and that was it. And it would have been the easiest way out. And also, Sammy with the Digital Media Championship is completely harmless. Like, it's a stupid title. It means nothing, but they found a much better way to get out of it. 23 turns out to be Steph De Lander. She shows up with the Digital Media Championship in tow, and she's like, I got it in the divorce. And everyone's like, yeah, and they figured it out. And that shit ruled. And then she's like, and I brought my boyfriend. And when she said that, I immediately was like, did they hire Mancer? And then all of a sudden he shows up. The camera work is hilarious because they're like zoomed in. You see him kind of in the frame, but he's not fully in the frame. And the crowd doesn't know how to react because most of them don't know who Mance Warner is. So they pan out, and then, you know, the heavy lifting is then on commentary to explain who he is. But yeah, good stuff. And because they're a real life couple and they have that chemistry already, they can prove that Steph De Lander and Mance Warner have already proven that they're good on camera together. Now they get to bring that to TNA, and I think that's going to be special. I'm looking forward to it. Best pivot.
I don't know how much of a pivot it was. I'll take your word if you think it was Sami Callihan. Regardless if it was a pivot or not, the way they worked it was very good. Like, I thought the way Steph De Lander, it felt a little anticlimactic when Steph De Lander just comes out. She's like, I was behind 23 anyway. But the explanation of, I'm the digital media champion, I got it in the divorce. Like, all right, you know, stuff happened with PCO. Here's their way out of it. They got the digital media title back. I thought they could have just left that. But the Mance Warner, him joining TNA is good stuff. That's a good get for them. So I was listening to Mance with Sam Roberts before we went on air today. And this interview was recorded before the People versus GCW. So it was before the Hammerstein show. He sounded like he was already TNA bound. Because he said in the interview, he's like, I've done everything I can do on the indies. I've beaten everybody. Like, yeah, I want to go to TNA. Let me beat up the Hardy Boys. Let me beat up Joe Hendry. He's like, WWE, let me get on the mic with CM Punk. Let me get on the mic with Kevin Owens. It sounded like he was already going that way anyway. That's why I don't know how much of a pivot it was, because in listening to this, again, recorded before the Hammerstein show, Mance was already talking like he was done with the indies. So that's why I don't know if it was a pivot. Regardless, what we saw on television, good stuff. Mance Warner and TNA, good stuff. If you're not familiar with Mance, he absolutely rules. That interview is fantastic, by the way, because Mance is very old school throwback. And he's like, if I'm in a bar fight and I punch a person, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna get up on a bar stool and do a 450? Like, fuck no, I'm gonna keep stomping them. What are these people doing all these flips for? Rules. Absolutely rules. Mance is the best. He asked Sam Roberts, he's like, you ever stab somebody with a screwdriver? Sam's like, no. He's like, you should. It's great. Like, hell yeah, Mance.
Sam Roberts should have replied, yeah, one time. And then Mance be like, really?
Mance is so good. He's like, I carry the screwdriver around in my boot. I got the title on me. People might come up to me. We're in New York. You never know what kind of people are going to be out there. I got the screwdriver right here. Nobody's going to mess with me. Rules.
So funny. It's good to see Mancer in TNA. I'm looking forward to covering that stuff. And of course, like we talked about at the at the top of the TNA talk, Mustafa Ali comes back. He's re-signed. He announced he signed a new deal with TNA. His first one was only like 6 months, and he got an extension to make it 8. And he did great things with TNA. Stuck around from basically January through till end of July, but the TV made it till the end of August. But yeah, good stuff. Liked seeing him back. He is now making his campaign known that he wants the world title. The last we saw him, he lost the world title match to Nick Nemeth. So it's really cool that they're giving it back. He ignores Mike Santana, who's already in the ring and pleading his case that he's going to be champion in 2025. You've got parallel lines going here. Eventually, these two guys are going to have to meet up. That match is going to rule, and the winner is going to challenge for the world championship wherever and whoever that is. There's part of me now that's thinking, what if it's Ali bringing that title into Slammiversary to give Santana his moment, or do they do Santana first and then Ali? Like, what? How does this work? Because both men are holding that title. It may be in 2025, 2026, but like both of those men are world champion contenders for TNA.
I like the Mustafa Ali is back. He's fantastic. Him being in the heavyweight division now instead of X division, all for that. And him and Santana should be a good feud. And if they're building Santana, losing to Ali doesn't seem like the way to go. But I don't know if Ali's just going to come in and immediately lose. So maybe it is Ali wins, goes on, wins the title, and they run it back at Slammiversary, and that's who Santana beats to get his crowning glory achievement. I wouldn't cut off Joe Hendry that quickly after all this build up. Like, I don't think you can have him lose the title 2 months later.
I mean, I would, but that's just me.
Well, that's why they should have put the title on him months ago in the first place, so they could have had a longer reign. But you don't believe in Joe Hendry. I know.
I used to believe. I used to. And then
why don't you believe, Joel?
Because he's the main event style he's presented so far has not been very good. It has not been. It's been overbooked. It's been very WWE-ified. And I'm not saying that that's because of him. I'm just saying the presentation so far has not really wowed me. Whereas what I'm seeing from Santana, what I've seen from Mustafa Ali, I know what to expect. And those dudes, they can go and they make believable stories in their matches. I'm a big, big fan of that stuff. Hendry hasn't given us anything beyond, I'm going to play my guitar, I'm going to do the song like funny yuck yuck. People made the joke about him being a meme wrestler. Like, yes, but also there hasn't been a serious story for Joe Hendry yet. People saying I hate Scotland. Listen, leave Scotland out of this. They're awful. But the point is...
But whose fault is that?
That Scotland is awful? Joe Hendry. You asked, I answered.
But whose fault is that he hasn't had a serious story?
Well, that's the thing. Because he's been going after a babyface champion, that was always the issue at play here, was that if you're going to have a babyface storyline, but also you've got the JBL stuff, and they were doing nothing to explain it with Nick Nemeth, and like they made no attempts to make any sense of it. And you can't tell me it's going to play out, because after a while it just doesn't work. It was a self-fulfilling prophecy that like he's going to win, there's going to be a big pop, but the matches were just never that great for Joe Hendry. He's not that in-ring storyteller. So I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for that first big feud with Joe for world title that gets me a step above. And it's not just a funny song and dance routine that leads to a match. Because we haven't seen it yet.
I don't know if... That's not going to be the Santana feud, because Santana's a babyface.
Well, that's why you're not going to see Santana and Hendry. You're not. You're more likely to see Ali and Hendry, or Kazarian and Hendry. They're going to keep Santana and Ali are going to be kept apart. They might face each other at Rebellion. They might do that in April. That's a hot match to put on your card, by the way. That is a match that people will want to see.
And who's Hendry facing at Rebellion?
Who did I have him pegged for? I forget who I had him. It could be EY, actually.
That's another babyface, though.
Mm.
Okay, you think Eric Young's turning? He's going to join Sinner and Saint next week?
Anyway, regardless of what the
outcome, Joel knows something. I don't know.
Maybe Joel knows some things. Anyway, maybe they'll do EY. I still think Kazarian should walk out of Rebellion as a champion, cash in his call your shot. Kazarian and EY, like having this loose affiliation, is very funny to me. But yeah, I think EY might be a guy who's up for, if not at Sacrifice, then it could be a Rebellion.
I think Eric Young, a heel Eric Young, can drag something out of Joe Hendry. Not saying like, oh, drag a great match, like drag something different out of him. Like give Joe Hendry a different kind of, to use a Cope term, grit that we haven't really seen from him. And maybe Joe Hendry you'll believe again, Joel, if Eric Young can take that from him.
I'm more curious about where Ali and Santana slot in over the next few months.
You're just disregarding old Joe Hendry.
Yeah, he's got a big gold belt and he's doing something with it.
Wow.
It's Goldberg versus Roman Reigns. That's it.
Why? He just completely tossing aside Joe Hendry. He was the hottest thing in the company last year.
Yeah, last year. Now he's out here trying to get John Cena to notice him at every media, every event.
Got no choice but to respect it.
You know what? Once he fails so much at everything, John Cena will have no choice but to challenge for the TNA World Championship. You want one more, John? I got one for you. That's the way it should go. But yeah, TNA was good for a live show. They want to try and run live like every month, was what PW Insider was saying. And like there's some merit to that. They're going to be in Full Sail on February 20th, so that's a month from now. Looking forward to where the chips fall with TNA. They're doing pretty good stuff right now, as long as they don't have Joe Hendry do overbooked world title matches.
Well, he's the world champion. They're paying tribute to Jeff Jarrett.
They should have Cora Jade be the champion. She showed up.
Do you have a title with you? Do you have a fake title with you? Where's the Fightful Championship that you never defend?
It's at Jimmy's place. Jimmy now lives much further away than he did when we had it originally.
Don't you have a fake title laying around there?
No, he sent one to Sean, but he couldn't be asked to send one to me.
Oh, I know, but like just another title. Don't you have like a fake WWE title?
No, I don't have $400 lying around.
Yeah, you could buy one for like $50.
I ain't buying one of those plastic ones.
You need a title so you could like wear it, and then you could do your emo cry thing. Because that's what Cora Jade would be doing.
She didn't have a title though.
Well, you said she should be the champion though.
The world champion. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Yes. I agree.
Yeah. She didn't do the emo cry thing last night.
According to someone in the chat, she did during the pre-show or during the post-show, I should say. I mentioned that she didn't do it, and someone's like, "No, she did. She gave the folder to Masha, and then she did it."
Oh, hold on. Let's see here. We're gonna go back. We're gonna review the footage. We can't put this on screen, but I'm gonna go back.
We'll get absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, TNA will not be thrilled if I try to put this on screen. So we're not gonna put this on screen. But we are going to rewind the tape here and see if Cora Jade did the crying. I got to find the segment. Okay, here we go. I found the segment.
It's got to be on YouTube.
Yeah, no, it's on their socials. So, okay, so she hands she did. Yeah, she did. Yep.
Yeah.
She goes like, and then she kind of like goes like that, like she finger guns her as well.
Yeah. Brendan, it was Brendan, by the way, who pointed it out. Shout out to Brendan.
So she does like an emo crying finger bang. So hardcore emo crying finger bang 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 bang. Gonna finger bang bang you into my life. Girl, you like the hardcore cry finger bang, and that's all right.
And that's the short. Awful. Someone's saying I hate over wrestlers. Show me where Cora Jade is over.
I think he's speaking about the Joe Hendry here.
Oh, well, yeah, that's possible. Again, like it's entirely people really like this dude. I get it. I like Joe Hendry too. I'm just waiting for that story. that like flips the switch on Joe Hendry's title run that makes it more about a story and not about his jokey joke style.
Well, they gotta do something to do that. Joe Hendry is just going out there and doing what he knows.
What do I know?
They should give him something good to do. How about that?
I wholeheartedly agree. They shouldn't be giving listen, the Matt Cardona surprise was a nice surprise for the live event, but like they can't do stuff like this and just get away with it. Like they can't just do overbooked finishes and JBL bullshit. Like they got to do more than just that. Like
he had a brief feud with Ryan Nemeth. Like what are they supposed to do with this Ryan Nemeth stuff? That
ruled. This segment with Gia Miller trying to get a word with Nick Nemeth backstage, and Ryan comes out and trying to be like the PR guy. What's even funnier is at one point it's like, I want to talk to Nick, the guy whose name is on the placard outside the door. Ryan has his name on his wrist tape. He just puts his arm up over the Nemeth name. That shit was fantastic. Ryan Nemeth, this character is it. This is perfect for him. My big brother. Oh, that's good. That's going to be a very fun feud, but unfortunately, they're going to be tag team partners next. Have fun.
Who are they facing? Who are they going to face?
Do you want to know? Do you want the spoiler? Chad, do you want the spoiler?
Is it the Hardys?
It's not
Are
the
the
Hardys.
feud?
No. Money, money, money.
Shane McMahon?
No. Yes. No. Come on.
I don't know the money.
Allow me to reintroduce myself.
My name is Hove, H to the OV. I used to sell bricks down by the OC.
Okay, now think about rap gimmicks in professional wrestling and TNA.
You're testing my TNA knowledge, and I don't really know.
Really not that hard. You want to rap battle him real bad.
TNA. Oh, I don't acknowledge him because he refuses to acknowledge me. So
first ass. It's such a stupid. We're such children. It shouldn't pop me the way that it did. Yeah, it's first class. It's first class. Yeah. AJ and Casey they're gonna do a thing with the Nemeths. It'll be fun.
I don't recognize them.
Soon enough. Someone saying Jay-Z to TNA.
Yeah, that's what I think of when I think of allow me to reintroduce myself.
Why don't you think of Ashanti the Adonis?
Because I don't.
Yeah, I get it.
Why would I?
And because he does that. And then AJ Francis is like, I wonder who gave him that idea. Because AJ Francis created everything in professional wrestling. Except for women's wrestling.
And battle rapping me. He didn't create that. Yeah. He's a coward.
The worst. Can't believe that guy. Anyway, that's the TNA talk. It was a fine episode. I think Live did a lot of good stuff for them. They next week is taped, and then the week after that is taped, and then the week after that is taped, and then they're live again, I think. Whatever, the 20th. They got a month of taping. Tonight is the tapings for the next few weeks.
Didn't they tape stuff afterwards though?
They did. I got to send you the results. I got them from Andrew. Yeah.
Why are you creating work for me?
I can send them to somebody else if you think they'll run them. It's literally a copy and paste job. The person who sent them to me did a great job.
Okay. All right. I'll take your word for it.
10 Riz sent a super chat saying WWE buying TNA to spite AEW TV deals. Wild petty. So this is something that Dave said on Wrestling Observer Radio. First of all, like I'm tired. Short answer, no, at least not in the foreseeable future, because there was an antitrust lawsuit against WWE from MLW, and that's how they got $20 million in Matt Riddle in the case. But I don't suspect TNA is going to be bought out anytime soon. Definitely not by WWE. And this whole, like, they're trying to block AEW from TV deals. I can't tell you left or right if it's true. I can tell you that they're working together. There is benefits to it on multiple sides, but they're not buying TNA. WWE is not buying TNA.
No, that never crossed my mind. I guess a little bit, but not anything like serious, because I think they're just happy letting TNA exist as it exists, and they'll give them talent and they'll use their talent. I always thought, people got mad about my joke tweet, but I always thought that was kind of what it was sort of about, is, hey, we might help you get kind of a better deal, and then we, maybe that helps block AEW. Or again, it was a joke tweet of it's going to lead to a better TV deal, and then they're going to put them on Wednesdays and be like, here, we're going to stop AEW from happening, but you can just face basically our fourth brand now, and we're going to cut into AEW that way. It's a slight joke, but also based on history and things WWE likes to do, not fully a joke. So, we'll see if that's where it leads. They got probably a ways to go before we get there with anything. And, again, we'll see if it leads to anything with TNA getting better TV deals. They got the good deal in Canada. Good on them for getting that.
Allegedly.
We'll see.
Allegedly a good deal. They got a bigger deal. They got more exposure in Canada.
Yeah. Well, that's a good deal if you get more exposure. They're not paying for the deal, are they?
Oh no, they're not paying, but I don't think that they're getting paid an exorbitant amount either.
Well,
I think they're
paid in exposure, brother.
They're doing better than they were being on Fight Network, which is owned by their parent company. That's like step one of the getting out of access deal, is getting, when your parent company owns you, you're trying to move away.
But we'll see if it leads to a better deal in the US. I'm very curious if the numbers for last night's show get reported, because we haven't really had like TNA numbers for a while now, and if they have been, like, they're relatively low. So I'm very curious if being live, being the first show since the partnership announcement, knowing that NXT talent was gonna be on this show, if they ended up, bringing in some new viewers to access, or if a lot of their viewers are still coming through like TNA Plus or anything. I'd be curious to know those numbers too. Of like, did those subscriptions come up, or were there more live viewers watching that show? That's something that obviously only TNA is probably going to have access to, and they're may or may not report those numbers, but the access numbers could potentially be reported by like Programming Insider or WrestleNomics.
We did number 1 on Access TV. Number 2, actually, outdone only by Sammy Hagar's Grill Fest, where Sammy Hagar grills up the best meat ever. 10 Riz sent a follow-up super chat. Jeremy, CYN application update. I have not received a phone call, I can tell you that much. And a new theme for Saraya. Well, I mean, she's got to come back to work first.
She's always used that falling in reverse theme, hasn't she? I'm trying to think, did she have a different theme when she first debuted?
Didn't she?
Oh,
no, she did. Yeah, they were still together at that point. I'm sure Mikey Ruckus is working on a thing.
I have not received anything from CYN. Let me check my junk mail. Might have
gone. I was going to say, check your spam.
Yeah, hold on. Nope, I have received nothing, sadly, from CYN.
It's a very sad day. Maybe you should just reach out to EC3 directly.
I mean, I could. I don't think EC3 has an issue with me. We've only chatted once. Is that WrestleCade? Not this past year, 2023. We chatted for a little bit. He's very kind to me. So he was also, when we interviewed Fodder the first time, Jensen and I interviewed him. EC3 was in there for that interview. So he's always been kind to me. I had no issue with EC3.
Yeah, seems like a nice enough dude. I know people have their feelings about certain things he's said or believed in, like CYN, but it doesn't bug me. Before we move on, there was two things I wanted to point out that I thought were worth pointing out about the TNA WWE stuff. I like Sean saying, people saying WWE is building TNA up to be more valuable than to buy them. That is bad business. It is a very good point.
Yeah.
I like that you bring that up because it's absolutely true. And then Live Glass pointing out, they may invest in TNA to help with production. And that's something that I have been harping on, that I hope if there is some money involved, WWE can lend out some production, whether that's money or like, hey, we just upgraded our shit, so have our hand-me-downs, little brother. And they could do something as easy as that. I would be totally fine with TNA upping their game. I like the setup that they used for this past set of tapings. It seems to be like they're ditching the Impact Trust, the six-sided entranceway, and they're just opting for a more LED board, which it's just cleaner. I know people don't love it because
more 6 sides. They're forgetting their roots.
So the Mustafa Ali thing, this is what I talked about on the post show last night. Because Ali came in last year before the election and was doing a very like close to dystopian view on elections and the process of politics. I want him now that he let him win the title, or let him make all these campaign promises. And one of the campaign promises is bringing Impact or bringing TNA back to its glory days. And how do you bring it back? You got to bring it all the way back to like 2003. We're going to air on Fox Sports again. We're going to air on Fox Sports 1. And by the way, we're going to bring back the 6-sided ring. Remember that? We're going to make Impact great again by doing this. And then we're going to bring back Dixie Carter, and Dixie Carter becomes Mustafa Ali's like,
that would rule.
Like what do you call her? The chief of staff. Because Campaign Singh is gone. Can't see him anymore. Dixie Carter should be the guy. Or the girl in this case.
Does the campaign gimmick like work?
It depends how you do it, because you have to be careful now with the election being over and the way the world is. I think Ali of all people is going to be very sensitive to how it can work. You want to draw on reality without no, it's not even gaslighting, but like without upsetting people or just being too close to it.
I think Ali is very smart, and I think he recognizes what the boundaries and everything are. But I mean, he talked about this was they wanted to do an assassination attempt angle, like before there was the actual attempt on Trump. So they ended up scrapping. They ended up scrapping that. But like, so he has ideas that may or may not work. I just don't know now that like the election's over and everything if it's a worthwhile gimmick. This is not where that like Ali can't do it. I think Ali's very good at it. I think he's smart enough to pull it off. I just don't know if it's worthwhile to do. Like, is it the best use of Mustafa Ali? That's where I'm kind of at with it. Like, could he just be doing something different that could be better?
It's like I said, I hope that if he's going to keep drawing from reality, if what's going on in the US is like, we're going to make things great by bringing it back to, by bringing back old bullshit like stuff, he should be making those assertions. He should be saying 6-sided ring, Eric Bischoff is coming back, like all the stuff that made TNA and Impact like unbearable. He should threaten to bring that back and see what kind of reaction it gets. Get that heat, Ali. Get that heat.
Yeah, there's a difference between like good heat and like
fantastic heat. I get it.
Yeah.
But he's not saying racist shit. He's just implying.
No. Again, I think Ali is great at this. It's just a question of could they be doing something different that might be better served. Because I do think like him trying to promise like a 6-sided ring. I don't know if you need to reference like Bischoff and all that stuff though. Like to me that's not like super worthwhile. Like I think you can reference it without referencing it. In the fact of like we're gonna bring back the 6-sided ring. We're gonna move to he should say Wednesday nights honestly, but we're gonna move to Monday nights. Back in the glory days. Let's see. We're gonna bring back the dome or the red dome. Cage.
The pay-per-views are coming back, $9.99 per week. You can watch our stuff.
Like
we're gonna have the cage dancers and the entranceways.
Yeah, I think you can reference like that stuff without saying like we're gonna bring back Eric Bischoff. Like I just don't. I
don't think he should bring back Eric Bischoff, but like they should be like to do a backstager where he's on the phone and he's like, "Oh, thanks, Eric. Yeah, that's great advice. I really like what you have to say." Look, I'm not saying bring Eric in for a shot, although he's doing MLW. Like Eric could easily come in and do like a cameo for a week, but that's kind of what I'm saying is if you're gonna do it, you got to reference it keenly. You can't just like bring in Vince Russo, bro. Like, you ain't gonna do that shit. But the point is, you try to harken back without forcing it on people.
They should bring back Dixie Carter though. They should 100%.
Oh, it's so perfect.
Dixie.
Dixie should be the chief of staff. It would be fantastic. A couple of super chats. Let's hit these. Barkov sent one earlier saying, always a great laugh watching ITW. Thank you for the great content, the laughs, and the amazing bits. Much love to y'all. We love you too. Thank you so much for the support. We love y'all hanging out with us on this show. It's honestly, it becomes a bright spot when the conversation's good and even when it's not, because nowhere else I'd rather be. I mean, there are other places I'd rather be, but like, don't worry about it. Tinder's just like giving it a week and a bit to see if I go to Grand Slam. Why haven't you gotten your tickets? It's sold out. It's sold out. Hawk Hard. Everyone's going. Get your ass to Brisbane if you're not already there.
Is it sold out?
I thought the whole thing was that they moved to this event center because they had basically sold the same amount of tickets.
Oh, I feel like they're selling well. Like,
listen, they're gonna have at least 13,000 in a venue that seats 13,500 or whatever it is. Like they're gonna do well. I don't know what the situation is ticket wise because there's no reporting on it, but I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a fun show. I think it'll be a hot show. I don't think it's going to be people who thought it was going to be pay-per-view quality. I think it's going to be a lot of strong stuff, but it's not going to be this like super duper all-in style show.
How do you watch it if you're in America?
You don't. You just imagine it. You just imagine it. You pretend that you know what happened and you text your friends in Australia about the show.
I'm gonna pull up the TNT schedule. So I tried to check it yesterday, and it only went to February 13th.
So today it would go to February 14th.
Maybe, maybe they'll add 2 days. Maybe it's a 2-for-1 deal.
I feel like it just goes to the day.
Yeah, it still only goes to February 13th today. So maybe I'll check it again tomorrow and see if being on the weekend we can get more days. Well, we shall see.
Just contact Max, contact TBS, TNT. Be like, what are we doing? Where are we going here? What's the point? You gonna watch it on Max?
Maybe if I'm allowed to.
Are you gonna hack the feed? Yeah. To watch the show, you need to buy Fight Forever and just sim out the matches. Oh, it's time for my favorite bit. How much is Fight Forever on GG.deals?
I don't know if is Takesha in that game?
No, you're just gonna have to make them with their poor thing.
Is Kyle Fletcher in that game? I feel like half the wrestlers on this card are not even in the game, so it's gonna be kind of difficult to do that.
If you want to get the game on Steam, it's currently on sale for $10.55.
Oh, there you go. You should buy it.
That's Canadian. That's Canadian, by the way. But I want it on the Switch. On Switch, it is still $39.99. Nah. Switchblade Tournament Pack is $6.99.
Is Ospreay in the game?
Man, I don't know. I just want to get this game without having to spend $40 on it on my Switch.
Too bad, Joel.
Seriously.
Why do you? The Switch version can't be that great.
I mean, I have a Switch and I'm not going to play. Okay, it's $30 on Switch on Amazon. So there you go. Someone wants to buy it for me on Amazon.
Don't do that.
I'm going to put it on I'm going to add it to my wish list. This item is already on my wish list.
Okay, so people are saying there's no Ospreay. I didn't know if he was added as a DLC. I'm pretty sure Fletcher's not in it. Takesha's not in it. Tony Storm is it? She was a DLC edition. Fairly certain Mariah May is not any type of DLC ad. So yeah.
Someone just sent me a message saying in all caps, Joel, do not buy that game.
You're gonna play it once. No, why would you buy it? you're not gonna play it that often.
Oh, I know I'm not gonna play it that often. Although I can get the Hardys Fight Forever Matt Hardy DLC for $5.
They're not even in the company.
This person is sending me multiple messages about how bad the game is. Oh
jeez. No. Who is sending you these messages?
Someone who's in our chat normally.
Oh.
They're sending it to me. They're DMing it to me. Came free with my PS5 subscription. I played it once. It's terrible.
Yeah.
I do remember when it came with that, with the subscription. It's essentially free, and I still don't play it. Oh no!
I think if it's so Grace is saying that the complete edition with all the DLC for $20, I thought about I don't for $20 and you get everything. I actually think that's kind of worthwhile.
Sure.
Maybe it's a waste of $20, but I feel like you'll play it when you first get it a little bit and you'll have fun with it. And then the moment you play something else, you'll just forget about it. And that's where you'll be at. But I'm like that with a lot of wrestling games. I've got 2K25 or 24, whatever the latest one was. I don't remember the last time I played that thing. Wrestling games, I'd rather just play the older ones at this point. But I don't have a ton of video game time anyway. And if I do, I'm probably just playing NBA 2K.
Yeah, I wish I had the time. My Switch is right there. I had it with me in my backpack for my morning stuff. Every morning I was like, I'm not playing my Switch. I should, but I'm not. Got a TV right there. I could just start playing right now. I bought the Mega Man series. The 1 through 6. Bought it for $10. I haven't played more than 2 games on it. It's really upsetting. And Sean in the chat saying it's never on sale because they forgot about it. Yeah. That's honest to God. That's what it is. They forgot that it exists. So they're like, forget it. It'll go on super duper clearance in store eventually. And we'll all just move on from our AEW Fight Forever lives.
Ryan says all it needed was a universe mode and a model where you weren't paying $20 every 3 months for new wrestlers. Yeah, I was shocked that the DLC, they kept charging as much as they were when it like the game itself was already a little outdated roster wise. Like I think it would have been a good faith thing of just basically, hey, you're gonna like $20, you get every single DLC release moving forward. And even 20 might be too much, like 15, and you get every single DLC release moving forward. Like I think they would have at least gotten a lot of goodwill off of that, but obviously they didn't do that. I didn't expect a universe mode. I don't like that was never really a feature that was reported or anything. The road to the elite mode was just very the fact that like you knew you were screwed immediately. Spoiler if you've not played this game 2 years later almost, but you do the elite mode and you're in like the it's not the casino gauntlet, the casino battle royal. And like, you know, theoretically the casino battle royal, you're supposed to like they give you the pick a card and whatever your suit is, that's where you're going to enter. You always get stuck entering number 1, no matter what. Like you can't not enter number 1. It's like you've immediately just fucked me over on this game. Like it makes your choices just seem stupid, and it makes your choice like it doesn't feel like you have any control over things. There was a NBA 2K game years ago. They acknowledged this was like stupid, by the way. They forced a trade if you did a My GM mode. So you would play, you'd build your roster, you do My GM, and then you meet with like the owner. And the owner was like, hey, I think you should think about making this trade. And they forced you to make this trade, Joel. This was the dumbest decision I've ever seen in a video game. The fact that I build this great roster and then it takes one of my players and is like, nope, we're going to trade him for this guy that you don't want. I was so angry. So angry. I quit playing that game. And then the next year when they came back and they're like, yeah, sorry about that forced trade thing. That's on us. That's our bad. I was like, thanks a lot, fuckers.
I mean, it didn't waste your money. I mean, other than buying the game, but like the trade didn't actually waste any of your real money.
They forced me to make a trade, though. So angry.
I'm looking at Ticket Tech. This is the provider for tickets for Grand Slam Australia. There's some tickets available. There are some. They're in the corners of the arena and the corners of the seated section. 315 Australian dollar reduce if you want to sit at the back of the floors.
Sit up there with Sting?
Back of the floor section, not the rafters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Sting. I don't know if Sting's going all the way to Australia. He's
Well,
too busy wrapping up his last year in Full Gear.
Yeah, I gotta go to a convention and get a picture with Sting since he's not doing any gear anymore. I'm waiting to see like if he's coming around anywhere closely, but I gotta go get a picture with Sting.
How far are you from Indianapolis?
Yeah, I thought about that. I did think about that of like, maybe next Friday I'll just go down and go to WrestleCon in Indy, and but I don't know. I'm hoping he's coming to Steel City Con, which is in April. They haven't announced like a full lineup yet, but I'm hoping he's going to be at Steel City Con. I'm going to have to call in a favor to get a picture.
Well, this next guy can probably help us with your favor. Maybe he can fly you out to Edmonton for a big event, or maybe to Calgary where they're going to debut soon. How about we bring on the one and only, the lovely Spencer Love? Good morning.
Good to see you. The nice thing is I'm barely even that late.
I mean, we didn't really set a time. It was more just like, you're going to be here.
I set an internal clock, and that was my mistake because I set my own expectations. And when have I ever met my own expectations, Joel?
Listen, that's between you and your therapist, not with me.
That's fine. Share with the group. Good to see you, though. Actually, fun fact, did you know Sting's my birthday buddy?
Really?
Wow.
Sting is, so I might actually be able to help you with that favor. That and Matt Taven.
I'm sorry to hear that.
How's being birthday buddies gonna help me? Like, is that a thing?
Honestly, I think it's a nice lead-in. I don't know if
Okay.
it'll actually help, but I at least
All
feel
right.
like if I message someone, I'm like, "Hey, birthday buddy, you got a lot more leeway than a lot of these other DMs some wrestlers get."
I don't know. James Storm has never been nice to me just because we share a birthday.
Well, what do you
Does he know you share a birthday though?
Probably.
Oh,
Everyone
like,
knows when my birthday is.
I don't know when your birthday is.
Then clearly you're not paying attention.
I have no idea when your birthday is.
June the 1st.
Is it? All right, sure.
Makes an internal note. Hey Siri.
I'm not gonna remember this. I'll see it. It'll pop up on my timeline or whatever, and I'll wish you a happy birthday. But
my birthday falls on a Sunday this year. Act accordingly.
I'm terrible with birthdays. I know
I'm
the
terrible with
wives
faces.
and the kids, and that's it.
That's a lot of people. That's 13 people you have to remember.
Yeah, I know that. So you see, I don't have capacity for anybody
You're
else.
gonna remember anybody. You picked some good options to remember, Jer.
Yeah.
I think.
I know my parents because they shared a birthday. So
That's right. I remember you mentioned that.
they share an anniversary too.
Ugh. I knew that joke already.
I use it
love
every
it.
single time.
I know.
I love it. That was terrific.
You would be a fan of that joke.
Yeah, I like Jeremy. We're
Thanks,
friends. We
Spencer.
get along.
Thank you.
Oh, somebody has to.
How you doing?
We're good.
And how are you? What are we here for? I don't know what we're promoting. So
No, I don't either. I just rent
Okay.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, the full disclosure, you need to know that like the last time one of your Love Wrestling cohorts showed up, that night everyone pulled out of the show. Like that Quizplex blew up. Like, it just, and not in the good way. Like Tony Deppen couldn't make it. Channing Thomas
It exploded.
It just completely like bam. And
So we've got concepts of what I'm promoting.
as long as an alcoholic isn't running your show, it's you.
6 of one, half dozen of the other, hey? No, let's chat. What do you want to chat about, Joel?
Well,
I know what I want to chat about.
yeah, let's talk about it. The old Rumble's coming back.
It
Yeah.
is. It's coming back today. That's actually why I was late. We're so Sport 1440 here in Edmonton. They took on the sponsorship for that. So myself and actually, you might hear him scurrying about here. Mars the Specialist and I were just down there. So ran home because I love hanging out with you guys. And then after this, it's straight to Rogers Place for the second year running, which is pretty damn cool. So real excited. The nerves really started to set in again last night, to be honest with you. Like ring crew always seems to be when I get most excited or nervous or like when stuff really sets in. So did last night. We were loading in during the Oilers game. So suck it, Vancouver. I love you. I love your city. I don't like your hockey team very much. So that was fun. But yeah, it's Oil Rumble 2 season, baby. Tonight at Rogers.
How easy was it to get the second one up and running after doing the first one? And I'm not just talking like set up and load in, but I'm talking to the Oil Kings, getting that partnership kind of re-upped for another year. Like what went into that, and was it an easy prospect? I mean, it sounds like it was.
Super, to be honest with you, and a huge shout out to them. I think we were sitting there during, I guess, the first intermission, so it would have been our fourth match last year, and we were already kicking around how we were going to make things bigger and better for this year. So obviously schedule comes out, you got to figure out dates, and there's sort of that logistical process. But man, it was super easy. They're so full of great people with the Oil Kings, and we're real lucky to work with them. Easy process, a lot of hard work, easy ass process though, to be honest with you.
Is
Mars
Connor
hasn't made
McDavid
trials.
going to be there?
Oh.
He's not doing anything else right now.
I would hope so. I would really hope so. I don't know if he will be there. I can't falsely advertise. Other promotions do that. I don't. So I can't guarantee Connor McDavid will be there. I can't say he won't be there.
I mean, he's not doing anything. He's been roughhousing a little bit on the ice, so it feels like this would be a good opportunity for him to let out some aggression getting in the ring.
Ruthless aggression. Yeah, why not? I'll take it. As long as he helps out with the ring at the end of the night, he is still green as far as it comes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as long as Connor's willing to, sort of pay his dues and help out with the ring crew at the end of the show. Yeah, he's welcome.
Fair.
How big of a pain in the ass was Mars to get him to agree to do this show?
That guy politics, honestly, like no other that I know.
I can imagine.
It was real tough. But the nice thing is we just got to get him mini hot dogs rather than like the regular full-sized ones. So even when he's asking for 2, it sort of pays out well. So yeah, huge pain in the ass. If there's anybody I really hate dealing with on the political end here with Love Pro, it's Mars.
I'm trying to like telepathically tell him to like put you in a chokehold. Right now, just 'cause I think
Insurance,
Yeah,
insurance doesn't extend to the house, brother.
because I think it'd be funny if he just came up behind you and just, got you in a good old
Go full Regis Philbin on the thing. Like, no,
Yeah.
I'm okay.
I'd pull you out of frame too, and they'd just be like, well, I guess it's us two now.
Spencer shows up late, leaves early. It's about the usual.
Well, more importantly, Mars, you've got MRB at this show at the Oil Rumble. You wanna cut a quick one on MRB while you're here?
On a quick one on MRB. Oh, well, as you guys probably are aware, Michael Blaze, he's the standard bearer of Alberta professional wrestling. He is the man. I want to be the standard now. I want to be the next guy around here. So tonight's not just for this, not just for the Oil Kings Cup. It's for the right to be called the best. And that's all I ever want. I want to be the best. So tonight I build a legacy off the back of Michael Richard Blaze.
Hot damn.
There we go.
There we go.
Here's a more important question. If you win that, do you get to face Vanilla Baby at the next LPW show? What's going on with that?
I already beat him. You know what I'm saying?
Do it again.
I'll do it again. We'll do Ginger versus Ginger part 2. Let's do it.
No one actually beats Blake Christian. I don't think he's ever lost. He's never lost. He's like a ball brother. Never lost.
I'm gonna bring him ice cream when we see him next. See if I pop him.
That would be great. Do you can you play like the Vanilla Baby? I know that's not the name of the song, but like
100%. As far as I'm aware, that is the new entrance music.
He just won't get any money from YouTube.
Yeah, I don't want you guys to like get kicked off stream.
We've been demonetized before. We'll be demonetized again. Ask me about our Total Bellas watch along that they shut off 20 minutes in.
It's okay. We discovered the TNA is very particular about their content being used as well.
Yeah, they don't like hardcore.
Shut that shit down.
Yeah, don't worry, Joel. I heard the stories from the show and how much fun that was on that end of things too. Thanks for the Trey Miguel interview, though.
So thanks Trey for that one.
I was gonna kick
Right
Spencer
under
off
the
the
bus with
stream.
all of us, eh?
Yeah.
I'm not. I got another ace up my sleeve for later, so it'll be fine.
Ah.
Oh, that makes it sound like I'm doing an Ace Austin interview.
I don't know what you're doing.
That means it's not Ace Austin, so
don't know
then
what you're
don't
doing.
aggregate that. I got work on other stuff with TNA for next month, so that's fine.
Worry about that then. We'll cross that bridge when we burn it.
It's been burnt, charred, rebuilt, and it's got another few sparks in the fire.
Well, we're trying our best and having fun. That's all that matters at the end of the day.
So you got this, and then you got the big Calgary debut.
Yeah.
How did y'all figure out that you need to go to? You got to go north to make a big splash out there.
Well, from Edmonton.
South.
Calgary South.
No, this is the proverbial. This is that working. This is that working up north.
Look at this. Look at this fake Canadian not knowing his geography.
We're going to the middle of the country.
No one gives
No,
a
this is
damn
that
about
working. It's that big territory up north, right?
Someone last night on our TNA post show was talking about Texas, and because Eric Young was like, "There's two things you don't do. You don't mess with Texas." I was like, "Why is the Canadian getting into a feud with two other Canadians and getting into a tag team with another Canadian? Why is he saying you don't mess with Texas?" And then someone was like, "What's
Crowd
the Texas
pop,
of
brother.
Canada?" I'm like, "It's Alberta." But anyway, continue.
You're not wrong. It just makes a lot of sense, Mars included, but we've got a lot of our core roster that's from Calgary, that haven't had the chance to wrestle there for quite a long time. I mean, the history itself, speaks for itself. I really just think it made a lot of sense if we were looking to get into a new territory. There are a lot of places that I really want to run throughout Alberta, but Calgary just made a ton of sense. Getting the opportunity to sort of go back to the home of Stampede, the home of the Prairie Wrestling Alliance, which was the promotion that I sort of grew up on here, means a lot to me personally. And then to get the opportunity to work with a guy like Victor is going to be very cool. I grew up as a wrestling fan out here, and to be able to be the promotion that brings him back means a lot. We've got a tentative replacement right now. Ali Catch was supposed to head up this way, and obviously, unfortunately, not going to be able to step in the ring. Still hoping we can get her up here, but we've got some really, really cool people lined up on that end of things too. But Calgary just made a lot of sense, man. And not only for just us, but like running Calgary, I think means something to wrestling, as cheesy as that might sound in a lot of ways. So if we've got the opportunity to do it, why wouldn't we do it?
It's a very important question in the chat. Did Spencer look at Copes and say, "That's the hair I want"?
No, I looked at his paycheck and said, "That's the paycheck I want."
the name you want?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Actually, yeah, from this point on, you guys can just refer to me as Love. There we go.
No, it's got to be Spence. It's got to be Spence.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, 5 letters.
No, still.
There's too many letters.
It's got to be
Ben.
Spence.
Ben.
Yeah.
Ben.
Sir.
Sir. Oh,
Sir,
God.
S-E-R, sir.
There we go. Snur. No, that's Pilsner. That doesn't really work all that well. Saskatchewan water, they call that.
Woof. You coming over to Toronto for Elimination Chamber, aren't you?
Yeah, man, I'm real excited. It's always nice to get out that way. And I don't think I've seen Zach in the better part of a year. So excited to get out there. Excited to see all of you guys, but it's going to be nice to get back on the media end. I WrestleMania, I think, was the last time that I was able to get out there for media. So real excited for that. And Toronto's just such a cool city. I know it gets its complaints and the center of the universe, and I still don't consider them part of any North American tour. But I love Toronto. I really love Toronto. So it's going to be rad.
It's the only place worth living, I'm telling you.
That's
in Canada.
Canada.
No, I'm psyched. It'll be a blast. You and I are going to have to get together and solve all the world's problems again.
I feel like we will. I gotta get in touch with Sean and figure out what the heck I'm doing, because he's coming to my home turf. So I gotta see what he wants from me, because when the King of the Universe comes, you gotta bow the knee, whatever it's called.
Well, that sounds like an issue, not an ish me, man. So I'll see you there.
Woof. plug everything. Would you plug wrestling?
Would love to plug wrestling. I love wrestling. Who would have thought? Tonight, if you guys are in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, please head down to Rogers Place. Tickets are still available. They're $20 all in, all out. That link can be found on our social media or on ticketmaster.ca. We're hoping to have over 8,000 people there again this year, and I really, really hope you come and check out a great wrestling product and a great hockey product as well. If you don't have the chance, though, we're back at the Rec Room for back-to-back nights of the best in professional wrestling, Thursday and Friday. Tickets for all of our upcoming events, including those, the Calgary show we chatted about there, can be found on Tixr, TIXR.com/love wrestling. Ignore the click. I don't know why I clicked there. There's no click in that. TIXR.com/love wrestling.
It's not Tixr.com.
No click.
How would you make that on your keyboard? Tixrclick.com.
I don't know. It seems like the weird, squiggly bracket seems like it would have a clicking sound to it. You know, like if I had to pick one, that seems like the most click-like. It kind of looks like a weird little cute. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. I'm standing by it.
Mars,
what do you think?
Can you make
on a keyboard?
Can you just say something cool so that we can kick Spencer off and say goodbye to y'all? Just say something.
I've earned it.
Star. I don't know.
Friends, go check out Love Pro Wrestling. Go check out Love Wrestling as well. They got plenty going on. Look at that championship title belt. Look at that big old thing. You got to go see that thing in person. So go ahead, enjoy the Oil Rumble. Good luck, guys.
Thanks, Tommy.
Cheers, guys.
Spencer.
See you, gents.
Take care,
guys.
The one and only Spencer Love. My goodness, what was that?
I was trying to get him to admit that Connor McDavid is going to be there.
He's too busy telling you that for $20 you can go to All In and All Out.
Is that what Connor McDavid's doing?
Well, you know.
I don't know anything.
Well, me too.
I don't know shit, crybaby.
There it is. All right. We're an hour and a half in. We should probably talk about Dynamite for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, I was waiting for you to say nah. Nah, we'll finish.
It's
early.
the thumbnail, so unless you want to make this a TNA show.
Oh, again, I had to change the thumbnail? No, we're not doing that. Nothing, no big news has dropped in the last little bit, so I guess we can get into it. I thought Dynamite was, again, a story of some really, really good stuff and some really, really not so great stuff, but I am willing to focus on the good stuff. We got
what did you hate, Joel?
Let's start with what I liked, and then
what did you hate?
What did I can't. Okay, these usually come out in the conversations themselves. So how about we just start with the Hurt Syndicate? They won the AEW World Tag Team Championships. I had to cycle through my brain WWE, NXT, TNA, AEW. That's what they won. The AEW World Tag Team Championships. Hurt Syndicate, we kind of expected it. Bit of a squash, but
not everyone expected it.
I mean, you and I talked about the possibility of them, extending this feud for at least one more week, but instead, no,
I said they should have just won.
and they did fairly handily as well. Very, very little put up by Private Party in this one, but new tag champs. What's your feeling? Lashley and Shelton Benjamin capturing tag team gold in AEW.
It was the right call. I feel bad for Private Party because they didn't really get a chance to get off the ground with their title reign, and then they just got beat up by the Hurt Syndicate. And I think the Hurt Syndicate holding the titles is the right call. I think doing a feud with Buddy Matthews and Brody King is gonna produce some good stuff. Can they be good heels? I don't know, because they're getting cheered and everything, and it feels like they're gonna need somebody to feud with. But Brody King and Buddy Matthews will be a good feud, even if you just want to cheer both teams.
So you mentioned Buddy and Brody. Do you think that they're going to be the first ones up to challenge the Hurt Syndicate in this case?
What other tag teams do they have?
That's a good question. There aren't a lot of tag teams that have stepped up and could potentially face these guys, especially because they're heels.
Allegedly.
Well, that's the other thing, is you've got this. Are you turning the Hurt Syndicate based on this? Like at that point, you can have Cage and Lance Archer go up against the Hurt Syndicate. Like that's a match that people would enjoy for like just the crazy meatness of it, as they would say. I'm sure that at one point you'll have an episode of Collision where they go against the Premier Athletes.
Nobody needs that.
It's inevitable. People saying like Leo Rush and Action Andretti, the Outrunners. I don't. This is like the big thing is, yeah. Are they heels though?
I don't think they really are, but they're presented as heels, but the crowd loves them. So, and if they face Buddy and Brody, it feels like both teams are just gonna kind of get cheered because they're presenting Buddy and Brody more as baby faces. Will Ospreay gave them the stamp.
They got a dog.
The stamp.
They got a dog.
That's Malachi. They turned him into a dog.
They turned him into a dog, and that's going to babyface any team. The Bulldogs, they had Matilda, baby faces.
Was I the only person annoyed when Brody King is like, we all bark together? And then he was the only one that barked.
Yeah. I wonder if in the tape, like you had Buddy and Julia just being like, we're not going to bark. And he's like, well, then I will. It was the finish of that was really awkward. I do admit. I liked that they did it, and it wasn't like them in a dark room with the light kind of going back and forth. Like it wasn't a weird, creepy vibe. It was a more menacing vibe. It was we're thugs, we're hooligans, we're walking through this whatever it was. I like the vibe, but yeah, just Malachi is a dog. That's really the takeaway from that whole thing.
Do you think like the dog, it's gonna like bark and the mist comes out, and so that's how you know like it's still Malachi?
Someone made the joke already that dog's gonna spend more time on its back than Malachi ever did in AEW. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Malachi's a dog.
That was my takeaway from that whole thing. It's like, shit, they turned him into a dog. That black magic stuff's really working.
Mine too. It was the first thing. I just immediately tweeted it out. Holy shit, Malachi's a dog.
I don't think they're gonna have the dog like at ringside.
No.
Julia's just there, like, or Julia's wrestling. Brody's got the dog. Like, yeah, they just bring the dog out with them, because this video package ran after the Julia match, so we did not know Malachi had turned into a dog yet. So now we will know that, moving forward. Let's see if they have the dog for their matches.
King Potato, this is exactly what I was thinking about. No Malachi. Bad Malachi. No pooping on the entrance ramp. Stop it.
How pissed off were the Death Riders that Brody King is just like wearing this black ski mask? I'm like, fuck. We can't use this to try to suffocate people. He's just wearing one normally.
We'll have to get one that doesn't have the face holes on it. And I'm looking through the I'm looking through the list of the roster, and I'm not seeing many many teams that make sense here.
They don't have, like, they've got teams. They've got Lio Rush and Action Andretti. They've got Top Flight. They've got Lance Cage and Archer. Or sorry, Lance Archer and Brian Cage. Lance Archer sounds like, I don't know. I'm just thinking of the TV show Archer, I guess. Or Brian. What did I say? Lance Cage.
Lance Cage.
Anyway, yeah. Anyway, they've got Brian Cage and Lance Archer. They've got Gates of Agony, although I think they're losing to Buddy and Brody on Collision, which is the right call. Like, they've got teams. They just haven't established a whole lot of these teams. And that's really the issue, is like they've established them as a bunch of losers.
Sorry, I just saw the Death Riders are on a ski hill. Wait a minute.
I know Brody King's been wearing the ski mask for years. He wore it at New Japan and everything. Like, I know it's a thing, but I just think the Death Riders is just back there, and they're like, "What the hell? Why has he got that ski mask? Did he steal it from us and cut the holes out? Shit! Go run to the store and get us a new ski mask."
So I'm just, I like I said, I'm curious as to who goes off and faces the Hurt Syndicate first, and like, what are their positions on the card? Like, not on the card. Sorry, what are they on the depth chart? Are they babyface? Are they heel? Are you going to change their presentation now? They're too menacing to be baby faces, in my opinion. Like, they're two big kick-ass dudes compared to the rest of the roster. Like, we picked out two teams that are as big or bigger than them, but one is a baby face, one is a heel team. You can't shades of gray the entire roster based on based on whatever story you're telling. Like, we talked about this. It's the one thing that, like, compared to WWE, you can do it with like the CM Punk stories, but you can't do it with like a Lyra Valkyria or a Chelsea Green story. Like, you gotta lean into a good guy and a bad guy. And I'm wondering, is there a babyface tag team? Is there a heel tag team? Where do they fall on this spectrum now?
Well, they've tried to heal them. I don't think they've done anything wrong with the presentation with them. Like, they're trying to be heels. They're going up against Swerve initially, and everybody loves Swerve. So that was a good heel introduction. They've done heel things. The problem is they're just really cool. And so
that's the thing. You almost have to dig out the coolness, but then you kind of dig out the whole reason for the Hurt Syndicate. They were cool. It just, I don't know. I don't know what kind of role they should be playing in this company, because too much cool doesn't tell good stories. Like, it doesn't tell good stories. Yeah.
They're too cool, and they don't have the proper baby faces to go up against them. Private Party were not the proper baby faces to go up against them. They could have been. Private Party could have been the proper baby faces, but one, they didn't give enough time to build this feud or this story. Like, it was like a 2-week thing. Like, they came out, they crashed the Private Party. Private Party should have kicked them out, by the way. They just did the toast, and then they just eyed the tag team titles, and then they beat them in a trios match, and then they beat them in a tag team match. It's like they didn't really tell that Private Party were these underdog baby faces. Instead, Private Party were these dudes who just got punked out, and people were like, I like the dudes who just punked out these little dorks over here, so I'm going to cheer for them. So Private Party could have been that babyface team, but one, the feud didn't have enough time to build. Two, after Private Party won the titles, they were not properly established as a great babyface team, because they were facing teams like Lio Rush and Action Andretti and teams like Top Flight, and they did the four-way match. Like, they weren't really established as a great babyface tag team from winning the titles. And that was cut off almost immediately when they came out. They won the titles, and they thanked the Young Bucks for making them elevate their game. And then they stepped to FTR in a segment that went nowhere because they never faced FTR. So they weren't established as a good babyface tag team. And then they got punked out by the cool heels. FTR
are going to be the ones that challenge the Hurt Syndicate.
No, they're doing stuff with the Death Riders.
Not after Cope loses. After Cope loses, FTR is going to be like, nope, my best friend got beat. We're moving on.
They're not doing that match until Revolution. Like,
I mean, still.
What? That's still 2 months away.
Yeah, but you can still do a tag match at Revolution with those two teams.
With FTR and Hurt Syndicate?
Yeah. Dax was teasing it on Twitter not too long ago. They want to get back to the tag titles.
Dax has been saying that for like 5 years now. That's what he always says. It's like
He loves AEW. He loves AEW.
We're gonna go after the tag titles. We're gonna prove why we're the best team in wrestling history. This is what Dax always says. So I'm not saying just because he teases it on Twitter that it means anything.
We're gonna be the best. We are the best. We're gonna do it. It's
Dax. But I'm not taking his tweets as like, oh yeah, they're definitely going after the tag titles now. This is what he always says.
They kind of screwed Private Party too. Production did.
Oh, yeah.
They came out to their heel theme, and then literally as they got to the ring apron, they just randomly changed back to shots. And like even Private Party, like you watched Isaiah Cassidy be like, what are you doing? It was not a good night for production for the first half. That was another thing that I kind of didn't love about the show. They missed some stuff, and that was one thing that I thought was a little too much to miss. Like they should have just rolled with it. They shouldn't have just switched to shots because that felt like they were making up for something they screwed up. I didn't love that.
Okay.
Does Private Party come back from this? Do they go and challenge again for the world tag titles, or
just to get punked out again?
That's the problem. Like you mentioned it, they showed up at the Private Party's Private Party, and Private Party didn't do anything. That's 4 times I said Private Party in one sentence. And then they got beat during the trios match, and then they got beat for the tag titles. Like they really did just kind of in and out with them. I don't know if there's a spot for this tag team in this division right now.
You know who would be good babyface fodder for the Hurt Syndicate?
Who?
Mark Briscoe and Orange Cassidy. That's good babyface fodder for them.
Does Mark want to do tag stuff in that world?
Well, Mark's still kind of aligned with the Private Party right now. He was there consoling them after they lost. He was part of that trios match that they lost. So I don't know if that's what Mark wants to do, but I think Mark Briscoe is so underutilized as like a really good babyface. Hey, Ken, I'm with you. I love Orange Cassidy. I'd like to see him just like get more, but they're at where they're at with Orange Cassidy. And I don't know what their plans are moving forward. So I'm just looking at like who's a good baby face that can establish Hurt Syndicate as like heels that you actually want to boo. And Orange Cassidy and Mark Briscoe are really good baby faces where you may actually want to boo Hurt Syndicate. Mark Briscoe, certainly. I think Mark Briscoe is criminally underrated and underutilized in AEW. Like he should be one of their strong babyface characters, and they don't do it. They don't do it with them, and it's disappointing because they don't have a whole lot of like great babyface characters, and Mark Briscoe could be that guy,
especially paired with a guy like Orange Cassidy. Like you said, there's potential there. I would like to see it, but yeah, it's just again I go back to like who fits. I'm looking up and down the roster, and it's like, would they do Roosh and Dralistico? They're a heel tag team going up against Hurt Syndicate. You know, they were supposed to do stuff, and then stuff happened. Yeah, I don't know who fits. Kip Sabian should team with somebody. Team with Nick Wayne.
He's a heel. People are saying the Outrunners. Like, look, I agree, the Outrunners, but it feels like they've missed the boat on that popularity.
Would you say
I don't know what
their popularity?
I don't know what they're doing with the Outrunners. I don't know if they know what they're doing with the Outrunners. They're just like there. Cole and Kyle is a good shout. I still think you run the risk of people are going to cheer Hurt Syndicate. Like the Bloom's a little off. Like they're facing Garcia and 2.0 on Saturday. Why are we doing these two babyface groups like facing each other on Saturday? It doesn't make
coming back, baby.
MXM are fine, but I think they're technically heels. Like they're a comedy group, and I love Mason and Mansoor. I think they're fantastic. They're a comedy group though. They're like a comedy heel group. Like I think them beating up Hurt Syndicate beating up is just going to MXM is going to get Hurt Syndicate cheered because they're going to be like, yeah, look at them beat up this comedy group. So I think it's just going to get them cheered.
Yeah, they're. It's funny because it's like we're mentioning all these people, but we don't have anyone to really put out there for Hurt Syndicate. So for now, they might just beat up people and do championship contender matches, and that'll be that. But they had those tag titles. It was quite the pivot. That's where they are. Speaking of pivots, Hangman Page.
My cat is so angry.
I think I heard her.
She's very like, come on, dummy. All right, well, we'll see how long before she wants to like claw her way out, but she was not having that. All right.
Does she know we're talking about wrestling?
She'll learn quickly.
Yes, poor thing. Hangman Adam Page, who famously loves cats as well. The musical and the furry creatures. Hangman but gets into a face-to-face with with MJF. I'm still, again, I know that there's some sort of pivoting afoot, but come on, man. You can't tell me that you aren't waiting for this. You can't tell me you're not waiting for Ain't They Better Than You. But either way, Hangman confronts MJF after MJF's promo. What did you think of MJF's promo? And more importantly, are we starting to look at a Hangman face turn? Because after Hangman finishes his little squashy match, Christopher Daniels shows up out of nowhere. And at first I was like, why? And then Daniels kind of used it as congratulations. I never wanted to fight you, but guess what you did? You retired my ass. Hope you're happy. And you can see the conflict on Hangman's face. I like where this is potentially going, but what do you think? It's a loaded question. There's a lot going on in this particular segment, but Hangman has always been one of the top characters in AEW when it comes to a development perspective. This is cool. I like where it's going.
Everything with Hangman is good. Hangman makes everything work. And I always trust the Hangman side of things. His confrontation with MJF is fine if it leads somewhere. But I don't fully trust right now that it's going to lead anywhere. Remember MJF did the face-to-face with Swerve years ago. I think MJF was still the champion. It was when Swerve was kind of like on top, and they never wrestled.
Heat check. It was a heat check at the time.
It got a big reaction too.
Yes, it did.
But we've never gone back to that. So I don't know if it's going to lead anything with Hangman and MJF. Now there's a thread there. If MJF destroys Jeff Jarrett, Hangman had the feud with Jeff Jarrett, and maybe he feels sympathy towards Jeff Jarrett and he wants to go after MJF. But I don't know if they want to play that. I don't know if they want to turn Hangman and just in that way of, oh, well, now he's sympathetic towards Christopher Daniels. He's sympathetic towards Jeff Jarrett. Is that how they want to play Hangman moving forward? I don't know. I think there's a way to do that, but I trust what Hangman is doing. I've always trusted what Hangman's doing. I've always said he should probably be doing more than they give him. And an MJF feud would be good for both of them because that feels like a top tier feud between two well-established stars, two former world champions.
When this all started with Daniels and Hangman, I remember a lot of people pushed back on it and said, why is he going after Christopher Daniels? What's the point? What does this accomplish? I think you and I even had a bit of an argument, or not an argument, but a conversation about it. And I remember Sean saying it's in service of something. And it seems like what it could be in service. I have been summoned to my wife. Give me a second.
Okay. All right. I'm going to answer this question from Matthew Hooks right quick. He says, they explained the Daniel Garcia story. They won his TNT title. Yeah, but their baby faces going after this title, and they just lost. Roderick Strong just lost to MJF. Adam Cole just lost to MJF. Oh, go ahead, Joel.
Sorry. I was being asked where the rice was because my wife dropped her phone in the sink. Anyway, point I was trying to make a shot derails this just for anyway. Need a lock on the door. Anyway, so the point I was making was Sean had mentioned this was in service of something. And if in service of something was that you were going to take Hangman and you were going to start his new crisis of conscience where he realizes I have been doing way too much of this shit in service of nothing, or in service of just, it's kind of like people who argue about wrestling until one day their friend says, buddy, it's wrestling. Like, it's not that big. That's what this was, because at this moment they're using the Daniels story and him effectively retiring Christopher Daniels. They're using this as a, maybe this crazy shit you've been doing for the last year has been taken too far. Maybe you care too much. And this is the moment where the redemption can begin for Hangman, where he realizes I went too far in my own craziness. And I like that that's a story there. It feels like where they're going, because Hangman, again, this was after the stare down and the match with MJF stuff. Not that he had a match with MJF, but that there was a stare down after MJF. Anyway, there's something on the table with Hangman finding his redemption. And I'm all about him getting there. And he's going to have a lot of people looking at him and saying, what are you like? I don't trust you. I can't trust you. And I don't know who the final person he'll have to gain the trust of. It could be Swerve, for that matter, who he's going to have to work with to get to that point.
I don't know if I want to see a Hangman and Swerve pairing.
If Ricochet gets to a point where he is so crazy character-wise that like they have to work together, then I can see something. But I don't know if that's where they're going with this, or where they want to go with Ricochet.
You can't do that less than a year after, because that feels too much like the Ospreay and Omega story. Because that was the one thing, if I'm going to nitpick anything from the show, that was the one thing that, like, or from this segment, Ospreay and Omega, it was that Kenny's like, I'm not forgiving you that all of you did. You tried to end my career. You dropped me on a neck. You stabbed me with a screwdriver. And then they brawl around the arena for 10 minutes. It's like, actually, I should apologize to you.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
It was a little too cute. I agree.
Yeah.
They could have done another week of something.
Yes, but the crowd ate it up. So like I can't hate on the reaction
right.
that it got. Clearly this worked for that crowd. But I probably would have just delayed that a week. But I understand, we got to announce the match for Grand Slam, even though we can't announce when you're going to watch it or how you're going to watch it, because we're not entirely sure how it's going to air or when it's going to air. We know how it's going to air. We're not entirely sure when it's going to air. So I understand they wanted to go ahead and get the graphic out there, but I probably would have waited a tick on that one. So I don't like them doing similar things with Hangman and Swerve. Just keep them separated. It's fine. There's a whole hit single about keeping them separated. You can keep them separated.
Yeah, there's a song about it. And like you said, yeah. Do you remember?
Yeah, I literally just said that.
I said, like you said. God damn, why don't you listen to me when I muse?
I did listen to you.
No, then you tried to snipe back at me after I said the thing. Who you remember who sang that song?
I do, but I don't feel like saying
You've watched them live in concert, so you should know who it is.
Was it Smashing Pumpkins?
Tender's a sense of super chat saying, where do a returning Bucks come in with Omega and Page?
Who knows?
The Bucks have to show up first, and not just to hug their best friend backstage, off camera.
I don't know. Like there's a lot of good story with the Bucks and Omega and Page. I just don't know if or when they're going to get to it, because the Bucks have been off television since they lost the titles.
Sorry.
Okay. The Bucks have been off television since they lost the titles. Omega's back and is just working with Ospreay, and Hangman's doing his own thing. Yeah, the Bucks are in Japan. They're going to be defending the IWGP tag team titles at New Beginning. I don't know when the Bucks are coming back to TV. There's an easy story to tell with all four of them. There's a lot of story to tell with all four of them. It's just a matter of, are they going to tell it? And are they going to tell it in a way that makes sense and serves the audience? Right now, Kenny's teaming with Will Ospreay, and we're going to get a great match at Dynamite Grand Slam, just Grand Slam Australia. And that'll be that. And as far as Hangman Page goes, I don't think there needs to be forgiveness, at least anytime soon, with Hangman and Swerve. I would keep them pretty separated unless they are still battling each other. I think you can still continue to get more out of them feuding against each other instead of, I need you to forgive my sins type of thing. I think there's more of he goes to like a Kenny or he goes to the Bucks and he realizes he's gone too far and he gets a kind of forgiveness from them more than he gets it from Swerve. I don't think him and Swerve should ever forgive each other. Fuck that.
Maybe they should. Maybe they should just kiss and make up. No?
No.
Kenny and Ospreay. Hot open, like you said. Thought it was pretty good. Again, going to get on production. They missed a couple spots, but it's Crazy Brawl. So here they are. It was good stuff. It sets up the match for Grand Slam. Kenny and Ospreay are going to take on Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher. Fletcher's going to get the win. He's going to be the only Australian who actually wins a match at Grand Slam Australia. Feel a little bad about that, but maybe Mark Davis will win like the $10,000 redo special. Some casino $10,000 redo casino gauntlet match.
Are we gonna get like an actual payoff
Card?
to that?
To what?
To Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis?
Probably not. Maybe
Like it feels like I understand like Mark Davis is like they didn't seem to have a great plan for him. But it feels like you should have done a singles match on that, right?
if you heat up Mark Davis, then you can see it coming. But for now, I think they're going to use Will Ospreay to tell that story, and then that'll be that for there. Mark Davis versus Kyle Fletcher is inevitable, but right now they're on two very different planes when it comes to reaction and when it comes to just interest. There's obvious interest in Kyle Fletcher. Mark Davis just came back from injury, and they haven't really done much to spotlight him, so they're not putting an emphasis on it.
I don't have to put an emphasis on it. They should have just Kyle Fletcher beat him on an episode of Collision just to kind of wrap that up.
Maybe they think there's more to it given the history of Aussie Open.
Well, they should try a little bit harder with it.
Well, instead you can get Ospreay Fletcher 3 at whatever the pay-per-view at Revolution.
Yeah, I figured that we're going to get that at Revolution anyway. So.
And then what does Kenny do?
At Revolution?
Oh, Kenny and Takeshita. Right. My bad. That'd be
should be Kenny winning the world title, but sure.
You can get one thing, but you can't get both. You can get Cope versus Mox.
Yeah.
Which one's the main event? I mean, you and I are going to say Kenny and Takeshita, but Mox and Cope, is that going to be the main event for Revolution?
Yeah, that's going to be the main event. They've typically put the world title on last. Like it should be Kenny and Takeshita. Good luck following Kenny and Takeshita, unless you're going to put Ospreay and Fletcher out there afterwards. But the Cope and Mox match ain't doing a whole lot for me. That Cope and Pac match was so
not for me. Was not for me. Tenruz is saying you guys need to do shoeys. Need to try Aussie stuff. I have never done a shoey. I've had plenty of Aussie stuff. Aussie pizza is a favorite of mine. You just put some fried egg on it. It's fantastic. I'm not going to do a shoey. I believe in hygiene. Can't do it. Sorry.
When's the show? It's Saturday, February 15th?
Yes.
All right. Saturday, February 14th. I don't drink beer. That's an issue. Is like not a big beer person, but
you could do mana in a shoe.
No, absolutely. That's way too much mana. No. We'll make this happen, folks. I'm a man of the people. Man of the people on February 14th, Valentine's Day. That's a great Valentine's Day gift to my wife. Is I'm going to get drunk off of a shoey and then go to lunch. Big
Bill, Powerhouse Hobbs, most likely looking at a parking lot brawl for Collision.
That'll be fun.
They haven't announced it, officially, but it does feel like that's what they're doing, considering Hobbs is like, meet me in the parking lot, and it's Daly's place. That's where you've done the parking lot brawls in the past. Looking forward to this. Hobbs winning the ROH World Championship is coming. It's happening, baby.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but sure.
Maybe he's going to beat Jericho in Australia, Grand Slam.
Okay.
Get that going. And then, of course, we have to talk about your favorite wrestler in the world, Harley Cameron.
Yeah, her song ruled.
Mercedes calling her out, being like, "You're a big old loser."
That rolled too.
Harley Cameron is going to go on a tear. Is she going to start winning matches for the next 2 weeks to get a TNT or TBS title shot?
Hopefully. That's all I've been asking for, is just have her win some matches so she feels as a credible challenger. I liked this segment. I like that Harley Cameron, she's great. She's fantastic. Doing her song, and Mercedes being like, well, hold on. You've lost a bunch. I understand it's your hometown, but like, I just ain't handing out this title shot. Go win some matches. And now Harley Cameron should win some matches and continue to sing some songs and annoy Mercedes. Be like, all right, fine. You've proven yourself. Now I'm going to beat you in front of all your friends and family. This is good stuff. I love this.
As one does.
Now, if she just loses a bunch of matches and still gets a title match, then I'll be pissed.
See, that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. Yeah, she's going to win a match. This is great. She's going to win a match on Dynamite, ROH, and Collision in the same week to challenge Mercedes. And then 2 on Dark, 1 on Dark Elevation.
Only she just wins a couple matches. That's all I'm asking for. Just have Harley Cameron win a couple matches so she feels as a little bit more credible of a threat. But she's always lost. That's why, again, people want to use the Chelsea Green comparison. Chelsea Green was not losing every single week on television. She was either not wrestling, which at least you're not there taking pinfalls week after week after week, or she actually had a decent win-loss record before the tournament. And then, of course, she won tournament matches. So being the first champion made sense because she'd beaten 2 people before she beat Michin. Harley Cameron is literally on TV every week, sometimes twice a week, losing. So you can't tell me she's a viable contender when I see her losing every week. She's better off not having matches and just doing her funny stuff backstage, instead of just doing the funny stuff backstage and then also losing.
Oh, it finally came out in the newsletter. Sorry, we finished our Dynamite talk. I was looking for any other scrubs and scrabs. Remember when I talked about TNA trying to pitch to Tony Khan to buy and Tony saying no? It's finally out there. There you go.
Yeah, I saw Dave.
There you go. So for all the dorks who fought me tooth and nail on that, it's finally out there. Dave says that it has to be true. That right? That's how it works?
Guess so.
That's how it works. Anything else from Dynamite that we need to talk about? I believe that Harley Cameron and Mercedes Moné could be a very fun match. I hope that they have Harley win matches to get there. Again, the only person who's going to win a match in Australia seems to be Kyle Fletcher. So good for him. Otherwise, we're just kind of going through it. But
what did you dislike? I feel like you wanted to bury more stuff.
No, it's not that I wanted to bury stuff. It's just that there's stuff that I wonder about. Again, where do you go with the Hurt Syndicate from here? What's going on with Daniel Garcia, for example? What you gave him a big title win. You haven't really done much with it. There was, for a moment, it looked like they were going to get the Undisputed Kingdom to have their shot at that title, and then that got pulled back to whatever this trios match is on Collision. Like, there's just stuff that I'm sitting and waiting on. And I've learned over the years with AEW that, like, maybe it's best not to wait for it. Maybe it's best just to wait for it. just to wait for nothing. Just to wait for nothing, because I'm not, like, the bar just set it low. No hopes. There was stuff that was fine. There was stuff that I'm just waiting on.
Yeah, I've said for a while that it's going to be Jay White and Moxley at Australia.
Yes.
And Jay White coming out at the end of this it doesn't tip their hand, but gives me more belief that is where they're going with it. Why didn't Jeff Jarrett come out in the closing segment?
Because he doesn't want any smoke. That was Jeff Jarrett's promo was just not that great. Doing the Claudio match. That's the other thing. It's like they're gonna do a Claudio match. Jeff Jarrett, Claudio's gonna slip on up the banana peel. Jeff Jarrett's gonna get the win. It's gonna be one of those matches, and Claudio's gonna be like, "What's Moxley going to think about this?" And then they'll have to do another match with Pac, and it's. I can't be asked to care. I just can't be asked to care.
I don't know if they're gonna do that. I don't know if they are.
I think they're going to tease it as far as they can, and then that'll be that. But the promo was just, it was they pivoted again. They were like, "That's not you. That's not what you do." And Jeff is just, he's back to being Jeff Jarrett, not Jeff, Maxwell, Jeff Jarrett Friedman. He's back to being Double J.
I think Claudio should. People know for the bit, I love Jeff Jarrett, and I think that him winning the world title would be hilarious. But looking at this objectively, I think Claudio should just wreck him and just prove that like he ain't got it no more. And Claudio's a monster. He should wreck him, pin him in like 30 seconds. Maybe a little bit longer because he just prolongs the beatdown. Jarrett gets the hope spot because you got to do the hope spot to pop the crowd and everything. But then Claudio just destroys him further after that. And then MJF comes out and it's like, dude, see, you ain't got it, old man. Get out of here. Be gone. Put you out back. I'll yeller you. And then Jarrett fires up at MJF. And then you do the MJF and Jarrett match where MJF wins. And then you're just done with that whole program. And then you do whatever you're going to do with Jeff Jarrett, hopefully like mid-card to lower mid-card stuff, because he shouldn't be in the world title picture. If he actually beats Claudio's
a big loser to begin with.
I'm going to laugh so hard if he beats up Claudio. I'm going to cackle if he actually wins this match and they do a Jarrett and Moxley world title match. I don't think that's what people want.
I don't think it's about getting a world title match out of this. I think it's about moving up the ladder, which in that case...
But he gets a world title match if he wins.
Is that what he said? Is that what they're doing?
Yes. He said, if I beat you, or he basically said, like, if you don't kill me, I get a world... If I beat you up, I get a world title match. That's what he said. So if he wins, he's getting a world title shot.
I mean, I'm still willing to bet that Claudio loses. I don't think
MJF or Jeff Jarrett gets a world title match.
Well, what if MJF beats up Jeff Jarrett so bad that he takes that world title match because deal with the devil and the devil been crossed?
Why is Moxley just going to give him a world title? Like, why? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. I'm just curious, but I feel like they'll do a banana peel finish.
All right. Well, if Jeff Jarrett wins, he gets a world title shot.
They should have had Yuta. It should have been Yuta first.
He shouldn't beat up Yuta either.
Why? Everyone beats up Yuta.
I know that, but like he shouldn't beat up.
Should have beat up Claudio.
He shouldn't beat up any of these people.
Well, too bad. You get 55-year-old Double J and you will like it.
It rules. He should honestly just win. I hope they overbook. I hope they pay tribute to TNA and they do like 3 ref bumps, 5 interferences, and Jeff Jarrett wins in the end. After he hits like the stroke and both men are down for like 30 seconds, and then Jarrett comes over and covers him and gets a 3 count. That's how they should do this finish. Just pay full tribute to TNA.
Well, let's stroke our way over to SmackDown tonight.
There's nothing on this show.
Two things announced: LA Knight versus Tama Tonga, Motor City Machine Guns versus Pretty Deadly. Hell of a show tonight from Austin, Texas. They're just hanging out in Texas, WWE and TNA. Just doing everything in Texas this week. It's like 2021 all over again.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing. I'd rather talk about Saturday night's main event. Like that's at least
that is a show
on their show.
This Saturday they're gonna have that, and it's gonna be. I'm getting the card up. Gunter versus Jey Uso. Jey Uso is gonna win the world title. Hell yeah!
I know they're not gonna have Jey Uso win the world title. I think they should have Jey Uso win the world title.
I think it's more likely Gunther shakes Jey Uso's hand afterwards.
Gunther should just... It should be more of a killer, but whatever. I think Jey Uso should win the world title.
Braun Breaker versus Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship. Braun Breaker has been not around lately, but now he is.
He's been chilling. He's been in the audience watching the show, taking it all in.
Good for him. I hope he gets a nice vacation out of this.
At some point, Sheamus is going to win this Intercontinental title.
They're honey dicking you more than they did with Joe Hendry and the TNA title.
I don't think it is going to be. It is going to be this Saturday, but at some point he will.
Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu. Fatu will get a good big man win over Strowman. That looks fun.
They need bodies for Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, well, they got one, and he's big.
You either get the reference or you don't.
Rhea Ripley defends the Women's World Championship against Nia Jax in a match you've never seen before. Don't rewind the tape to last year.
No, I'm glad that they're just like doing this now and they're not trying to prolong this thing. And I hope they don't prolong it out of this. Like Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax is fine, but yeah, we just did it last year. you've got enough fresh people for Rhea that you shouldn't be running this back in a prolonged state here. So do it, have Rhea win. Nia should probably want like revenge on Tiffany, right? Like feels like that just kind of got dropped out of nowhere. I know they did the 4-way match and Nia lost that, but she didn't get pinned in that thing. It feels like Nia should have more of a beef with Tiffany and be less concerned about Rhea Ripley.
Yep, I agree. But for now, you'll get this match and you'll enjoy it. And of course, the contract signing for the Royal Rumble for the ladder match, it's going to be Kevin Owens, Cody Rhodes, Shawn Michaels presiding because the King of the Ladder match does preside.
God.
This should be interesting. Both men giving up their titles. Cody Rhodes is going to walk into Raw on Monday without his world championship.
No, he's not. He's going to have his title.
I thought the whole idea was that they're both giving up their titles for the thing.
Why? They're not hanging the belts up on Saturday. That's
It'd be
next
funny
week.
if they did. They just keep the titles hanging over the ring at every event until the Rumble.
No, they're not going to give up the titles. Cody's going to go into Atlanta with the champion. Steven Jensen might cry if Cody comes out without the title on.
One more reason to watch the Spotlight. One more reason.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say something. Yeah, they did. Yeah, Nick said that they were going to give up their titles.
I don't believe Nick Aldis.
Wow. Nick Aldis hater over here. Is he walking around doing this? Is this the problem?
I don't believe.
Why is it a mix of like Cora Jade and Lash LaRue? Remember when Lash used to do like the Riz? It's the same shit. Oh, yeah, that's Saturday night's main event. Jesse Ventura said he's going to be there.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting turn of events, given who else was scheduled to be there.
Well, Jesse Ventura was always advertised for these shows. He said he was going to do them. And then, yeah, people just kind of assumed, well, Hogan's going to be there, so Ventura's not going to be there. But Hogan isn't advertised. He's doing advertisements for the show, but they've never outright said he's going to be on the show. It's a lot of just kind of reporting of, oh, they might use him here, they might do stuff here. But Ventura has always been, yeah, I'm calling all the Saturday night's main events. It's part of my deal to return. It's obviously still news. Like I read an article on it yesterday because it's still news because people were curious, and he had to come out, and maybe he was told to say it, I don't know, but he came out and said it, so it's still news. I don't know if Hogan's on this show or not. He's doing advertisements for it, but that doesn't mean he's going to actually be on the show. I don't think people are going to be disappointed if Hulk Hogan's not on the show.
Oh, I don't think so either. But I'm curious what matches Jesse would call. What does he call the world title match?
Yeah, he probably calls Gunther and Jay. That's probably where, because I assume that's the main event. So that's where you would think he would call as the main event match.
Well, it's definitely the last match that they'll do. I think the Cody and Kevin thing will either be the crossover or it'll be the main event segment.
Okay.
We'll see. It's a regular airing. It's 8 p.m. until 10 Eastern. So just a regular, show. It's not starting at 11:30 like the old school Saturday night's main events. It's its own special at its own special time. We'll be covering it on the site as we always do. We got one more super chat. This one from Jules Max saying, just wanted to thank you both for the laughs and all you do. You are well needed bright spots on a crappy day. Well, we hope your day gets better. We hope it's a sunny one and a good one. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. And everyone in the chat, thank you for hanging out with us. Another wonderful week has passed. We've done it. And you know what that means, Jeremy. You got it ready?
Well, first, hope your day gets better, Jules. Second, I didn't really tease the announcement throughout this show, but let's just go ahead and put it out there. Jensen's already said stuff. I even said it on yesterday's Spotlight.
That's true.
Beginning February, I don't even know what day it is. The first Monday of February, where we're actually on main channel. That
I was going to say, that's a main channel Monday. That's the 3rd.
Yeah, February 3rd, which is a main channel Monday. So it'll play better there anyway. But in the weeds, will be 5 days a week. It'll be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
That is typically the 5 days of the week, yes.
Well, there's 7 days in a week. So
yeah, but that's the weekend is the Saturday, Sunday. So,
no, but it's still part of the week, is it not?
No, that's the weekend. That's part of what they consider the end of the week. Weekend.
But are you saying that Saturday and Sunday are not part of the week?
No, they are not. They are considered the extra part known as the weekend.
They're still part of the whole week, though.
No, it's like busted open. They say they're 7 days, but no, it doesn't count. Saturdays don't count. Sundays don't count.
In the Weeds will be 5 days a week. It'll be me and Joel on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, as everyone knows, as everyone has come to love or hate, or just tolerate.
Or pass it around to their friends and make hate comments. It's great.
Yeah, sure. Tuesdays and Thursdays, it'll be myself and SP3. So I will be here, sadly for everybody, I will be here every single day of the week. I'm not running from the grind. I'm adding more to the grind, but it'll be myself and SP3 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. FMC, which usually runs on Tuesdays at 10 o'clock, will not exist in its current format. You will probably hear myself and SP3 talk about basketball in the weeds because, as people know from In the Weeds, we don't always talk about wrestling. We get off on other tangents. So one of the tangents SP3 and I will get off on will probably be basketball. So everybody can enjoy that, especially considering the first Thursday we're doing the show is the NBA trade deadline. Much rather talk about the NBA trade deadline than, whatever's going on in wrestling. Who could possibly care? But we're probably going to do some type of reality television show, myself, SP3, and Share Delaware, our pal Share Delaware. Like, we're probably just going to tape something, put it up on the weekend so people can still enjoy that aspect and that trio that people have enjoyed. Spotlight is going to be Thursday evenings moving forward. Format won't really change, and we're still going to do interviews. Everyone go check out our Kevin Blackwood interview that we did yesterday. That'll be up on the site in a standalone format this weekend. But if you would like to, Kevin Blackwood was fantastic. If you'd like to go ahead and watch that as part of yesterday's episode of the Spotlight. So Spotlight's going to be Thursday evenings, probably around 6:30, I believe is what we're going to do. There will be some weeks where I have to miss Spotlight because with 12 kids and evenings, they got activities. And so that's going to take priority, but otherwise I'll be there for most weeks, I would assume. But yes, In the Weeds, 5 days a week. We're going to get back to having more guests on the show and things like that. I'm working very hard on trying to secure sponsorships. That's a pain in the ass, but what can you do on that? I'm trying. That's that. In the Weeds, 5 days a week beginning in February.
Looking forward to that. More that I can be here my normal days, and SP3 and Jeremy cutting up on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That'll be good. You're going to recycle so many takes. It's going to rule.
Well, not really. I mean, maybe a little bit, but the thing is I'm just going to force you on, Wednesdays is now going to be way more NXT talk, and you're going to be the one recycling takes on Fridays because you're going to have to talk about TNA all over again.
No, it's the post show twice. I'm just going to replay my box from the post show, and you won't know. It's fine. I'll wear the same thing both nights. It'll be fine. Yeah,
Fridays are going to be a Joel hate Fridays. Joel's is going to be a big old hater on AEW every Friday since he's been saving his takes up.
We'll be able to do more Q&A style content. How about that?
We're going to obviously the format is very loose with In the Weeds. Like, we don't have a format, God forbid. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be working on more guests. I'll out myself here, but I fully was like, I don't feel like doing a ton of guests in January as we wait until kind of a 5-day thing in February. But now doing 5 days a week, like, we're going to need just more voices on this show, like getting wrestlers back on the show, getting different creators and everything on this show to just lend more voices. I got lazy on just asking people in January because I wanted to, one, there was a lot going on with some personal stuff. 2, I was trying to really hone in and focus on a lot of the new stuff. 3, I was trying to really hone in and focus on a lot of the shorts. And I've done one short every single day, so I'm very proud of myself on that, and I will continue to do that. But now I'm going to really hone in and focus on just making In the Weeds as best as we can. Not to say that I wasn't doing that previously, but I
Wow.
fully admit that January, I just was like, let's just do the show. Let's have fun with the show and do what we typically do, just us two. And, you know, in February, it'll continue to be us two and SP3. Look, guys, Kimmy has a standing invite on this show. She knows this.
She has the link.
I'm mad at Kimmy because yesterday she's like, "Hey, can you do me a favor?" I was like, "What's up?" The Sting Full Gear thing. She tweeted about it. I was like, "Did you see my tweet about Sting? You're not doing appearances anymore in Full Gear after 2025. Like, can you do like an article so it gets a lot of traction and everything?" And I'm like, "Kimmy, I'm really good at what I do." And I sent her the link to the article that I had already written because I knew that was a good news story. But Kimmy's welcome anytime. She knows that. She's retired. I'll badger her into coming on the show at some point.
No, she's retired. Stop it. Let her be
She's
retired.
going to come on. She's going to be on the shows on Thursdays for an ROH review since she's the only person that watches the show.
I think she's given up on watching it now that she has a real job.
Oh, fair.
Watch ROH went from having 11 people watching to 10.
Allegedly.
Well,
it's in syndication now. You're going to be able to watch that show on Sinclair CW.
Pretty sure those episodes had to have been airing somewhere not streaming to be considered syndicatable.
Can you like syndicate on like other streaming platforms though? Like, oh, now we're on. Can you be on like CW streaming? Or is that NWA territory?
I think that's NWA territory. Well, not anymore, but
yeah, exactly.
I don't think it's anyone's territory. Anyway, what is the territory? It's Mana territory. Are you ready?
Yeah.
And here we go. You gonna just ready?
I'll hit it. You gonna hit it?
I'll hit it. Let's go. Let's go.
Okay. All right.
Mana, the final boss. And here we go. This is how good. The final. God damn, that's good shit.
And here we go, because this is how good. Damn, that's good shit.
The best for 5 days a week starting in February.
Not drinking 5 days a week.
Well, one of us might.
Got a chaser today. McDonald's sweet tea.
All ice, no tea. Anything else to plug?
This is tea still. I got a whole other one in the fridge.
Oh, good stuff. Well then, go enjoy it. For Jeremy Lambert, I'm at Joel Pearl or thejoelpearl.com over on the Blue Sky. God, that's obnoxious to have to say over and over again, but here we are. I'm on Blue Sky. That's where you want to follow me. Back on Monday, doing the thing, talking about Collision, SmackDown, Saturday night's main event, God knows what else. For Jeremy Lambert, you know who I am. Jeez. I know. 3-hour SmackDown. I'll be watching it in 2 different sittings. Ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.